Oh shit. What's good? What's good? Let's see who's all online tonight. Who do we have online? You know, let me go ahead and I want to see who all gets this notification. Get some people in the chat room now. My bad, I had to mute myself. So let me go ahead and just say hi in the chat room first. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Forever hold your peace. Speak now. Forever hold your peace. It's been 3 days since I've been on YouTube. And I've been on other people's streams. What's up, Hero Mass? What's good, man? Are you getting ready for FEMA camps? Oh, yeah. Looks like FEMA camps are getting ready. You know, I sort of had an epiphany tonight. I went to go see Space Jam, and I'm gonna give a review on that tomorrow. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna give a review on that tomorrow. And no, it's no social justice warrior stuff, thank God. But the movie was terrible. But I'm gonna get onto that tomorrow. Leave that for I don't want to like spoil it for you guys. If y'all guys want to go see Space Jam, comes out in theaters on Friday. I recommend you to go see it. Uh, just but let me just put it like this: Space Jam is a movie you're going to see one time. That's it. I'm just going to leave it at that. After you watch it, you're not going to want to watch it again. Um, and LeBron James, if you're watching this, which you're probably not, you really need to quit your daytime job and stop being an actor because you're not really a good actor, dude. I'm just sorry that you need to practice, like rehearse or whatever, because, dude, LeBron James, it's nothing personal. You're not a good actor, dude. You need to stop acting, dude. I mean, I know you're not really an actor like The Rock and all those other guys, and I get that, but I mean, LeBron James is, and it's nothing personal. He's a good basketball player. I've nothing wrong with him, but as an actor, he just needs to quit his daytime job. He needs to go pursue another job. I mean, he needs to stay in basketball. I'll just leave it at that. I'm not going to go further into that. I have two roommates that I'm evicting as a landlord. You're a landlord? An 18-year-old boy refuses to work and pay rent. Oh yeah, man, cool. Kick his ass out. Kick that little punk out. I told you, Gen Z retard nation won't work. They want to be the next YouTube rising star. Which ultimately, the reason why YouTube is in the position it's in is because other YouTube content makers destroyed this platform. And that's the truth, which I will get into that in another video. YouTube content makers destroyed YouTube. This has been going on for probably about 5-6 years. The reason why we're censored on YouTube is because other YouTube content makers did this. Now, does it mean every video makers engaged in all this crap? No. But the reason why we have so many restrictions and all this crap is because bigger YouTube channels and smaller YouTube channels were pushing out content that was controversial, and the mass flagging and getting their subs to flag another guy down and the doxing and all that literally destroy this platform. Like, you guys think it's all cute and all, but when YouTube finally starts charging its members to be on this platform, that's when the problems are going to start occurring. And that's really what it's going to go down to. They're going to start charging us a monthly subscription fee. And it all stems down to the fact that people were just taking advantage of the system and not following the rules of the YouTube platform. And therefore, that's why all these restrictions come. So when you talk about cancel culture, a lot of that stems from us as content makers, us as people in general, as a whole in society. When you look at cancel culture, that's a result of that is a bunch of people trying to silence the other, trying to take our freedom of speech away. And it goes basically both sides, mainly from the left, but people on the right do the same thing as well. So I'm not going to sit here and say that they don't. LeBron is fine with, uterus slaves in China making his product while he promotes hate. Yep, exactly, RUA. That's exactly. It's funny because in the beginning of the movie, I'll give a spoiler. LeBron, they were putting clips of LeBron James in the movie and his highlights, and that was cool. I didn't have a problem with that. Highlights of his career. And then it got to the part where they threw like one little political reference in there, but they didn't like hammer it in. They put the clip in where he said, "I'm not going to stay silent and dribble." And I'm like, well, LeBron, did you tell that to all the people in other countries that are making your shoes, that are in sweatshops and extreme hazardous working conditions, where they actually have to build a net to stop the employees from jumping off to their death, to make your shoes at 30 cents a shoe, so that in return you can sell the shoes for $300 a pop, $400 a pop. And there's no such thing as hard work. In other words, you'll never see LeBron James walk into a factory where his shoes are being made and see the working conditions of these people where they actually are oppressed, but then he's going to talk about how he's oppressed. But it's okay for somebody else to be oppressed, but it's not okay for him to be oppressed. And see, that in itself is human nature for us to be greedy. You got all these political factions. You got left, right, progressives, the establishments. You got all these different types of groups politically, and they're all fighting back and forth. And you have to ask yourself, what is the issue here? Why can't they ever come to an agreement, right? Or some kind of compromise? You got the far right, and then broken into several factions, establishment, conservative. They got all these different groups, right? Libertarian, which tends to lean more right, whatever, conservative, whatever. They have their own little views within their own little views, and then they don't agree with each other, but then they have their own views that they kind of do, but then nobody really makes a deal that fits for everybody. So then when the left comes in and gets with the right, and they're arguing back and forth on Capitol Hill, they're arguing back and forth in the state capitol, federal capitol, whatever you want to call it, or even in the White House. They're arguing amongst each other, and then a deal never gets done. They do right deals, and they both, after arguing for 50 days straight during the government shutdown when the pressure wears on, but their checks are never affected. Therefore, it doesn't personally affect them if a deal gets done. But for the rest of us that are left to ponder, it affects our lives. So you have to ask yourself, what is the results of that? The results of that is human nature. It's human nature for them to be greedy and selfish. Why do you think a law is passed to where senators, congressmen, your state and local officials still get a paycheck, despite the fact that a deal was not reached? The government shut down. Nobody should get paid. But wait a minute, there's a clause that pays them. And remember this, the government is shut down. There should not be a paycheck for anybody until the deal is reached. But see, because they're not affected in their wallets, of course, why would they care to make a deal anytime soon? Why would they care? Exactly. Today, majority of people sit on there and talk about how they want to kill themselves if they keep getting bullied. If you don't want to get bullied, don't get on the damn internet. That is true. You're right. How do you feel about representatives of Texas going into D.C. for a political stunt? And it's dumb as hell, bro. They don't like the deal that's in place to protect us from voter fraud, which is cutting the days down from early voting to 29 to 21, to stop the drive-in votes at the ballot, and to also stop illegals from voting. That there's nothing wrong with that. I see nothing wrong with the bill. There's nothing wrong with it. But for some reason, they made it political. And then the funny part about it was when they were doing their little Black Lives rally stuff, they were having Latinas on there. They had one in a quinceañera, and she was like, I just turned 16 or 15, I think. And I'm like, ma'am, you're not old enough to vote. You're not old enough to vote. Why is she even speaking on the microphone with a bunch of adults in the room that should be talking about these issues? She's like, they're suppressing the Latino vote. I'm like, no, ma'am, they're not doing that. First of all, you're not even old enough to vote. But I know the Democrats want to pass a bill allowing 16-year-olds to vote. So I think that's where they were kind of going with this. That's why they were having her speak. And I'm like, no, absolutely not. You should be 18 to vote. I think that's a correct age. Leave it at that. Now, I think it's dumb to raise the smoking age to 21. I think it should go back down to 18. I agree with that. You're not in high school anymore. You should be able to smoke cigarettes. If you're able to die for your country, you should be able to vote and smoke cigarettes. And drinking is another, is another separate issue. But the thing is I don't agree with them raising the smoking age to 21. But I do think you should be 18 to vote unless you're going to the military at 17. And elections, primary and regular elections are there. I think if you're 17 and you're going to the military, if there's a special exemption, I think they should be able to vote. I think that's fair. If you could die for your country, you should be able to vote, smoke a cigarette, and drink. Why not? Well, you're not mature enough to smoke a cigarette, but you're mature enough to pick up an assault rifle and shoot it. You're old enough to go to another country and invade, right? Command and conquer, right? Right? Survival of the fittest, right? Art of war, right? That's why I said they should have kept the smoking age at 18, keep the drinking age at 21, except for exemptions if you're going to the military. And then let the voting age stop, at 18. Regular voting. I think it should stay at the same. A 16-year-old should not be able to vote unless they're going to the military. Like a special exemption. Maybe they're an ROTC or something. Hey, I'm all for that. I think there should be a little stipulation in the rule. I don't have a problem with that. If you're 17, you're going to the military, which you can, with your parents' consent, then you should be able to have a beer and smoke. I mean, why not? But if you're not doing those things, then no, you shouldn't be able to until you're 18. I think that's the rule. That should be the rule. What's good, man? What's good, Mike Anderson? I haven't seen you in a while. RUA, well, remember that prevents them from winning the elections and taking control over our lives. I agree. Well, now they want to add a universal pre-K and 2 years of community college. These are 70 and 80-year-old wannabe dictators trying to judge it publicly. Public education they haven't taken for 50. And that's what I've always said this. I'll say it, baby boomers are literally destroying this country. They are out of touch with today's standards. I remember I saw Mitch McConnell said, well, I rarely get on my cell phone anyway, so why do I need it? I knew once he said that, I'm like, yeah, this guy's too old to be running the country. The problem is, though, is that the older generations don't trust millennials and they don't trust Gen Z Nation. And to tell you the truth, I kind of don't blame them. But sooner or later, they're going to have to relinquish power. Why? Because they're getting older. So sooner or later, they got to pass their power down. But the thing is, they're just going to pass it to the next of kin, family members or whatever. Or they're just going to pass it down to a constituent that has the same mindset as them, which goes to what I've been saying for a while now. Politics, dating life, working life, your family life, and your own life. Is it human nature for us to be greedy and selfish to a degree? The laws of human nature. I was reading that book the other day. It's a pretty fascinating read, and I've been learning a lot of new things. See, people are fighting right now in this country, and that's why countries like China is the number one nation in the world in terms of military power and economics and technology. Oh, yeah, they pass us up. Because the United States, we are so divided as a nation. We're fighting over, sex, who has more girlfriends, the size of Kim Kardashian's ass, when's Cash Me Outside that hoe popping a new video, who's going to be the new rap artist. We're worried about things that should not be important. I've been saying this from time to time. Economics should be first and foremost on our minds. And especially in this next election coming up in 2024, whether Trump is running against Biden or not, I will say this again. The number one issue to talk about is jobs. And that's it. We're not going to talk too much about border security. Healthcare will be another debate. And that's always been a debate. But affordable healthcare will always be a debate in itself. But I think jobs is the first thing to tackle. And the second thing, the rising cost in our taxes, because in the state of Texas, we still have a minimum wage of $7.25 an hour. Yet at the same time, our cost of food has gone up 10% and our cost of healthcare has gone up 12%. Does that make any sense? Even our gas prices are almost $3 a gallon. Slowly but surely, everything's rising. And the crazy thing about it is the inflation's rising, but our wages aren't. So you know what that means? That means, and again, I don't think minimum wage is the answer of raising it. Because when you raise minimum wage to $15 an hour, like everybody's talking about, that's $28,600, $860 or $880, something like that, a year. Before, and that's not including taxes. You're still poor at 24 grand a year. You're still poor. So you're putting a Band-Aid on the actual real problem. It's not the rise in minimum wage. It's the inflation. It's the rise in our taxes is the problem. That's the scary part. What's the purpose of giving us $15 an hour when it's equivalent to $7 an hour today, $6 an hour, $5 an hour, $4 an hour with the rising cost of everything? What purpose does it serve to make 15 bucks an hour? You're still poor by definition at the end of the day. You're still poor. That's why when people cry about the rise of the minimum wage, oh, we need to raise it to 15. First of all, I'll say this once, I'll say it again. You're only worth what someone's willing to pay you. Facts. Number two, raising minimum wage will not cover the cost of inflation. Number three, and most importantly, okay, that doesn't mean it's going to keep your hours. It doesn't mean you're going to get a bonus. You can't guarantee me after $15 an hour, you're guaranteed 40 hours a week. You can't tell me that. You can't tell me that every business will still give you 40 hours a week, because I guarantee you some of them won't be able to do it. Amazon. Jeff Bezos says, raise minimum wage to 15. I hope you raise it to 20. And everybody says, see, he does care about the common man. But see, here's the thing, what Jeff Bezos failing to realize. He can pay 20 bucks an hour, 25, but most smaller businesses can't compete. So those businesses will crumble because they can't pay the wages. Or they're just not going to hire anybody, or they're going to have to fire people or let them go, and then only keep a certain amount. You see what I'm saying? So Jeff Bezos, those big companies like Amazon, they want you to raise the minimum wage because it takes their competitors out. And then once that happens, a few high-tech companies, they can make you surrender to having to apply for their jobs, and then they sort of have a monopoly on the job market. That's scary. So even if you raise the wage to $15 an hour, you know what happens? Inflation continues to rise. Your taxes continue to go up. They sales tax you. They take your income tax out. They raise your property taxes. They raise in all these taxes. They continue to go up rather minimum wage goes up or not. It doesn't matter anymore. Minimum wage doesn't have to rise for taxes to go up. So my point is when you raise the minimum wage and the taxes continue to rise, $15 an hour sounds nice for now, right? Oh man, yeah, that's badass. I'm making 15 an hour, and let's say even if you do make 40 hours a week, guess what happens? In 2-3 years, as taxes continue to rise, slowly but surely continues to go up, $15 an hour is the new $7 an hour. And then you're right back here bitching in 2 years about how 15 is not enough. And I want 25. I want 30. You can never satisfy humans in terms of minimum wage, because I go around asking people all the time, well, this wage is not enough. Give me a number what minimum wage should be. 15. This guy in the back, what do you think? 20. Okay, ma'am, you in the back, 25. Sir, you in the back, 20. Ma'am, you in the back, 50. So you're going to get all these numbers, but no one can agree on what the actual minimum wage should be. So why raise it? The reason why minimum wage has to go up, and I've explained this to people all the time, The reason why people want minimum wages to go up is for two reasons. Number one, because the taxes increase so much, but it still doesn't work. It's still not going to, it's a band-aid on the problem because taxes are continue to go up regardless if minimum wage is raised or not. That's what I said. We need to figure out how to keep the taxes down. All right. Number two, another most important thing, and a lot of people, they get very upset and edgy. I've seen people do this on their income tax. I've seen people do this on the stimulus check. When you are given free money, let's say your income tax comes in, you get $10,000, you got 4 kids, you get 10 grand, you're like, yeah, man, I got 10 grand, woo! And then you look and you say, you know what? Should I pay my apartment note or my mortgage note for the next 6 months? Or should I save it? Or should I procrastinate and spend? Now you're probably gonna say to yourself, well, Mr. Rose, I'd put that 10 grand in the bank. Nah, I'd put that 10 grand in the bank. Nah. But in reality, most people are not going to do that. They're gonna blow that money. So when you raise the minimum wage, once again, it's just more money for you to spend. We're not teaching each other to save. We're teaching each other, we're materialistic by nature, especially Americans. We have to have the flashiest stuff. We got to have $100,000 car. You got to have, you got to go clothes shopping. You got $10,000 worth of clothes in your house. Well, let's just say you got 2,000, 3,000. You got a Coach purse. You got a Louis Vuitton bag. You got expensive ass stuff when you shouldn't have even bought any of that. Now, I know you're going to say, well, rich people do it. Yeah, and a lot of them go broke. And not only that, but some of them are billionaires, so they kind of have the money to afford it. But the problem is you got people on a smaller scale that are living beyond their means. I'll give you an example. My ex, her sister was very irresponsible. And her husband, every year we get an income tax of $10,000. And every time they got their check, they would buy expensive ass dressers, they would buy a car. And then they would put a down payment of $3,000. They blow the other $7,000 off, spending on electronics and all this stuff, right? So by the end of the month, that $10,000 is gone. And guess what? They're struggling paycheck to paycheck. So they barely had the money to afford the car payments. Now the car got repossessed. So now it goes against your credit. Now your credit's bad. Most people blow through their credit. They don't give a fuck about their credit. In fact, 1 out of every 3 Americans blows through their credit. Okay? And they said over 80% of Americans have bad credit, which I can guarantee you most of them blew through it and didn't give a shit. We live in a selfish, entitled society, folks. That's the real problem. And until we tackle the issues of saving and managing our money and not living beyond our means, and also the issues on the rising cost of taxes, we will never be satisfied. You will never satisfy anybody with a dollar amount to it of what minimum wage should be. As long as our taxes goes up, we're screwed in the long haul. Now they say, well, look at these other states like California and Washington. They got $15 an hour. Ooh. And I'm like, yeah, but look at the cost of living. And even the $15 an hour, ask Rad. Is that helping? No. Because the taxes continue to go up. Because we have idiot politicians in office who are not tackling the issues. Why? Because they themselves are living comfortably. They don't give a shit about us and why should they? Because they're selfish, entitled, and it's human nature for them to only look out for what? Them, their family, and themselves. We've seen this on the left. We've seen this, unfortunately, on the right as well. When it's normal, Rick has a comment on Facebook. He says, Stephen, it's normal for people to rise and people to be in power, and you have to be a little corrupt in order to do it. Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Whether you're a dictator in another country, or rather you're the president of the United States, or rather you hold
members of Congress. Why do you think these guys never want to leave Congress? Why do you think these guys never want to leave office? Why? Because there's so much money on the table, they don't want to walk away. So they're just racking in or secure the bag. Now you're going to say, well, this is a bunch of rich pieces of shit motherfuckers. That's all it is. But think about it like this. Now let's go down to middle income. Let's go down to the poor, right? There are some poor people who refuse to work, so they live off of welfare. Isn't that selfish and entitled? Yes, right? Are there some people that screw the government over? Yes. Are there not people that cheat their taxes for the rich and for middle income and for lower income? Yes. Yes. It happens on all phases. A lot of business owners hide their taxes, don't report to the government. It's in human nature to think about yourself first before you think about others. And I hate to say this, but when you have all these political factions and they're arguing back and forth, feminists are the same way. Men's rights movements are the same way. When they're arguing, they're speaking on their talking points and they want something that's going to work in their favor. But if you look at their proposal, it takes power away from somebody else to a degree. Like feminism. Feminism is another good way. Another example. Women benefit in the dating market, the sexual-based market with fat shaming and slut shaming and girl, you're beautiful, girl, you can do whatever you want, you go, girl. But I said this before, average guys can never benefit from fat shaming and or slut shaming or anything like that. In fact, men are now being shamed for having a high body count to a certain degree. While women can still have a high body count to a certain degree. I mean, that really goes back and forth, but I'm just giving an example. Feminism has taught women that they can be below average and still have a highly attractive guy that's rich and good looking. But and it teaches women they don't have to be feminine. Not only have to be feminine, but they also don't have to put anything into their looks anymore, because there's always going to be a guy that's going to ask her out. And maybe there's a little truth to that. Maybe there's truth to that, you know. But again, look at the proposal. It only benefits them. But when we say, well, what about us? They say, oh, too bad, fat boy. So you can make the argument that it's within human nature for them to be selfish to a certain degree. They say it's female nature, but again, there are men themselves, men as we as men, to a certain degree, we also are selfish by nature. Now let me say why. We fight wars over women. We fight wars over oil with other countries, men on men. Men pull each other's women, right? Guys will fight for their wives while hollering at another man's wife. Guys will defend their girlfriends and say, no man better ever come around you. Nah, I'm going to fight. I'm going to fist fight you. But at the same time, behind closed doors, that man is also talking to another man's wife, another man's girlfriend. But if you go and confront him and say, hey, you're defending your girlfriend, but you have no problem being on another man's girl. What's up with that? Then he says, hey, who are you to tell me what to do? Now, I'm not saying anybody watching is that person, but I'm giving an example that it's within human nature for us to be what? Greedy and self-entitled. That is the point that I'm making in this video. So, like, let's say, for example, for the dating life, because I know that's what everybody likes to say. And I'm about to read your comment about Nancy Pelosi. Here's the thing. Even in the dating life, guys want to get from the quickest way from point A to point B in a woman's pants. In most cases, is just a smash and dash. So they'll tell her what she wants to hear, even if they're promising her the world, relationship, whatever. Now, let's say he has sex with her and she leaves on the premises that she thought a relationship was to come out of this. Now, let's say you don't call her back. You say, I'm not going to call her back. Fuck her, blah, blah, blah. She gets mad and angry and upset. And to be fair, she has a reason to, because of the pillow talk you gave her. Now, if you told her at the beginning that you didn't want anything else, it was just a hookup, and she gets mad and that's on her. But let's say you promised her the world and then you ran off and changed your number, didn't answer, whatever. Okay. You had a WhatsApp number, whatever the case is. you can make the definition that he's selfish to a degree. And it goes back to the laws of human nature. It's you're benefiting from yourself. See, I remember Cat Williams, the famous comedian, he said, I was watching this crazy like interview where they were talking about sex, and they had asked him, they said, so have you ever pleasured a woman before and she complained about your bedroom sex? He said, all the time. And when they asked him, well, how would you respond to not being good in bed by these women that are coming out and saying this? He said, well, I don't care as long as I got mine. Okay. So Cat Williams, in a way, you can say that you benefited what? Off your own self-interest. Isn't that selfish, technically, to think that way? Yes. But you're not thinking about the other person. You're thinking about you come first. Right? Now, let's go to the ladies. Ladies want a sugar daddy. Most women today want a sugar daddy, whether it's online or in person. Now, some women do give up sexual favors for sugar daddies, but most of them don't because they realize it's easier to get it online. Now, a lot of these women won't tell you this. Most of their sugar daddies are married. Most of their sugar daddies are married. So you know what that means? That means they are benefiting off of another woman's patriarchy. Because I guarantee that woman helped him in some way, to a degree. So, but here's the catch. Now, most of these women that have sugar daddies have boyfriends or husbands themselves. So you can ask these women that have sugar daddies, how would you like it if your husband was giving away your money to another bitch? Let me repeat that. How would you like it if your husband was giving his hard-earned money, your future potential retirement money, right? Saving for bills, saving for a rainy day, maybe you got kids, right? How would you feel if another woman had your man as a sugar daddy? You know what they say? That ain't happening. Oh, hell no. I'll fight that bitch. Oh, hell, you better stay away from my man. But wait, hold on now. Hold on now, baby. Hold on now, baby girl. Listen to me now. You just said you had a problem if somebody had your man as a sugar daddy, but you have no problem having somebody else's somebody else's husband or boyfriend or baby daddy or whatever as a sugar daddy. Wouldn't you say by definition that's selfish? Wouldn't you say by definition that's greed? Yes, but see, it goes to the point to what I'm making. The laws of human nature should say that humans are greedy and selfish by what? By default. Now let's go to work, let's go to dating environment. Back again to dating. You take a woman out on a date. She says it's rude for a man to ask for any sexual pleasure of any kind and or romantic at the very beginning because it's considered rude and disrespectful and to a certain degree misogynist. Fair enough. But then she has no problem with a sugar daddy invite or asking you for money in the back end. And if you were to say, hey, I find that rude and disrespectful, she didn't say, no, it's not. That ain't being rude and disrespectful. She has no problem making him give her the girlfriend treatment without her giving him the girlfriend experience. Isn't that selfish? Now let's say for guys, let's say there's a guy out there that thinks he's entitled to sex because he took her through the McDonald's drive-thru. So he's entitled. Now we're talking about entitlement. He thinks taking her to McDonald's is an excuse for him to get in bed with her. Well, if that's the case, she could have just went to McDonald's on her own. The worst thing you can do as a person is say, well, I bought you a cheeseburger, then what do I get in return for this glass of water? As if somehow you have the final glass of water in the entire world. You have the last cheeseburger in the entire world, and that you cannot find this cheeseburger anywhere else. That's entitlement. That is greed, essentially. There are some guys who will spend 300 on a date and not get so much as a handshake. And women will say, yeah, well, I'm not really into him like that. What did he think this was going to be? Well, do you think that's not greed or selfish? Because most of the time, from what I see, and I've talked to my homegirls about this, I've had private conversations with some of my homegirls, and they told me that 90% of the time when they didn't like a guy, they knew it either before the first date or during, and they still allowed him to continuously take her out and pay for it. 90% of the time. Women have already known before the first date and or during the first date that they were not going to see any sort of future endeavors with you romantically and or sexually. But it didn't stop the women from enjoying, or my homegirls, from enjoying the fruits of the labors of the courtsmanship that they were receiving from these guys, as if they were still giving them the girlfriend experience. Now, is that fair? Is that right? No. Are those specific women selfish? Yes. Are they greedy? Yes. But at the same time, the laws of human nature apply. Not female nature, not male nature, human nature. Right? Look at sexual predators. This is another example. We have sexual predators, right? Where they groom. Groom is a form of manipulation. That's where you suck up and you're real nice to these young kids and you try to work them down and in hopes to have sex with them, for those sexual predators that are pursuing children. So they'll groom these kids to where they're so nice to them that these kids will warm up to them, and then comes a sexual undertone. That's what happens when they're messing around with these kids as young as fucking 4 years old in certain cases. All the way up to adolescent teenagers. Most of these sexual predators groom these kids. Right? Isn't that selfish? Isn't that greedy? Yes. Do they care that they're going to destroy the lives of these children? Absolutely not. Are they aware they're going to do it? Yes. Do they care? No, because they're thinking about their own selves. In fact, there's even sexual predators that Alex and them bust in person, that they bust online. Some of them have kids. And when Alex says, well, how would you like it if your kid was pursued by another older man that was trying to touch on your 11 or 10-year-old kid? Oh, well, I have a problem with it. Okay, that's great. I'm glad to hear you're a good father. Congratulations, Father of the Year for you. Now, here's the trick question. The $1 million question goes to you, sir. Why would you pursue another man's 10 and 11-year-old? In the same breath, you just admitted if another person came and tried to hit on your 12 or 13-year-old child, you would have problems. But if another predator did that to yours, you have a problem with it, but you can do it to somebody else's kids. This is what you're seeing in the world today when it comes to politics, your workplace environment, which I'll get to that in a minute. When it comes to your dating life and everything, people are like snake oil salesmen. People are like used car salesmen. I always compare men to used car salesmen because that's what we do. We try to sell you our car as a badass car, but in reality, it's broke down. Well, for most guys, it is. And for women, they try to sell themselves out with the whole catfishing photos and filtering themselves and all that crap. And then they'll make themselves look all fine, and then they'll try to buffer themselves up, maybe put on a little makeup. And then, and then the whole time, they weren't about shit either. But it goes to show you that we as humans are very manipulative and vindictive, and that we always try to cancel somebody out because as long as we get our slice of the pie, we don't care what anybody else gets. See, a lot of you guys thought, and before I read the comments, because I got to read those last three, a lot of you guys asked me, why do you have Kim123 on your channel? Why do you allow him to speak? Why do you allow this? Why do you allow that? Why do you let Democrats on your channel talk? You know why? Because I think in order to test yourself, your own human nature, is to put yourself in uncomfortable positions so that you can have you can have the experience of talking to somebody who may not even agree with anything you have to say, but you can have a civil conversation. That breaks that ego. That breaks the ice, that gets people talking. And guess what? People want to be, maybe they may not want to be your friend, but they will respect you. Because they'll say, you know what? I've had people tell me, I hate Trump, I hate his supporters, but I actually enjoy your channel. I'm talking about these are far left nut jobs. I've even had feminists tell me, I like the way you conduct yourself when you explain your issues with feminism. And I can kind of see where you're coming from. Because it's different to turn on the mic, hit the record button, say women ain't shit, modern women ain't shit, this, and that. Women ain't nothing but bitches, hoes, and tricks. See, if I say that, it gets me a lot of views and a lot of subs. The problem is I'm not being true to myself because I'm generalizing all women as one. Same on race. When we put everybody in a box, we become closed-minded. That's because they're printing money left and right. I agree. Wage is not the problem. Coca-Cola starting pay at 18, 20s an hour. Exactly. Coca-Cola is, in my state, hiring at 22. We got security jobs hiring at 22, 23, Rad. Taxes, irresponsibility with budget, and the laziness and the problems. Yeah. New York, California, and Canada are celebrating openings like Texas and Florida fell in that pandemic shit. I agree. It's going to be Trump or Governor DeSantis in 2024. Yep, I agree. Well, now they want. Oh yeah, I already read that. Sorry. Let me go further down. Mike Anderson said people are abusing unemployment right now. After COVID, I had some employees quit their job and file unemployment, and they claim they were getting paid $1,500 every 2 weeks. Mike, I agree, and that sucks, dude. I work 2 jobs, bro. Look at Nancy Pelosi's district. That bitch lives in a mansion and makes sure her grandkids are taken care of. But you go on the streets of San Francisco, you might think you're in Venezuela. RUA, you're right, bro. Look at what's that one black woman name? She's Miss Sheila Jackson. Go look at her district in Texas. Her district's not that far from my house, like maybe about a 20-minute drive going towards downtown. And guess what? She's living in a mansion in a district that's all poor, and she's got the only mansion sitting there. So it's fair to say that even for these politicians, when they get up to office, they're just benefiting themselves, securing the bag. It's no different than these women that are going on my OnlyFans showing feet pics, racking in the dough while talking shit to guys with the other hand. Now, do all of them do that? No. But just give an example, they're securing the bag to support themselves. And to tell you the truth, you really can't. See, I really don't blame feminism to a certain degree for wanting their slice of the pie. My only thing is this, and I tell this to women all the time that are feminists. I don't have a problem with your beliefs. The problem is you don't have an open mind. So when you don't have an open mind, which what I mean by is you're going to be competing with men also. So if a man beats you out for a job or something, then don't bitch. I don't want to hear your whininess. Because if they beat a man for a job or they do this, they'll say, oh yeah, man, that's badass. And then but if they lost a job to a man fair and square, then they're going to bitch and complain and say, oh, so they don't like it when they lose to a man, but if they keep winning against a man in life, they have no problem with that. And then when they complain about feminism, but they're living in a first world country that was built by men, but they're complaining about it, I just can't. All I got to do is sit back and laugh. I think it's hilarious. Dudes built this country. Did I personally myself? No, but I work in foundation. I work in construction. I work at Walmart. I do help, but I didn't build the landscape and all that. But that was ultimately created by men. And here you go complaining about men. So it's fair to say that they want everything to be in their favor. Men's rights groups, same way. They want everything to be their way. They want everything to go their way, even red pill, whether it's dating coaches, whether it's Manosphere, all those guys, if you listen to their talking points, they're really no different than feminists. It's just they have a different belief. They believe that men are the prize. They believe that men should get access sex to any woman they want, and that, you know, if women and men can't be friends, and if there's nothing sexual that's encountering right off the bat, kick them to the curb, and this and that. Women ain't shit. Blah blah blah. It's no different than these feminists saying, "Secure the bag, girls. Secure the bag. Men ain't shit." Blah 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 blah. And this and that. It's no different. It's just two. It's two different sides. It's two different flips of the same coin. Heads or tails, which one you want? It's still just as bad. I mean, facts. It's hey, Sentinel, what's going on? I didn't see you. I just saw you. And here, brother, what's going on? I don't know where everybody else is gone. Usually I like my girl Christina in here. She's real sweet. But, you know, I think, you know, the reason why I haven't live streamed in so long, I think people got to get used to it. Maybe they're not receiving the notifications. I don't know. All right, so let me go ahead and review part of this video, because that's what I said I was going to do. Oh, even in your working environment, Rick, I'll explain it right now. Working environment's another issue. You got cliques that form together. You got people that conspire against one another trying to fire. Don't you think that when you got 10 people trying to team up to fire one person, don't you think that's cancel culture within your workplace? You're trying to silence someone. Now, if they're guilty of something heinous, that's fine. But you got people that don't like someone and they'll team up to try to get them fired. I've seen this before. You got people that make up stories. You know, you could say a joke in front of a woman. She laughs 1 minute, then feels bad later, and then tells human resources on you. Don't you think that's shady? I do. That's why I don't trust too many females on the workplace. I rarely associate with females, and it's not because I'm a misogynist. I don't trust them. You just never know. That's why I keep my conversations with women in the workplace very professional. I keep it short, professional, straight to the point. I never, ever go out of bounds with a woman at my workplace, ever, because I never, ever want to be standing in front of a human resources board being accused for sexual harassment or sexually explicit conversations. No, I will never engage with a female employee in an unprofessional manner. I will never invite them to my house. I will never invite them out to drink. I just don't trust them when it comes to this Me Too movement stuff. I don't want to be the next Bill Cosby of Walmart. No thanks. I think I'll pass. Now I'm going to go ahead and review this video real quick by, of course, Fresh and Fit, the two, what I call Dumb and Dumber, because those guys are, let's just be honest, Dumb and Dumber. Fresh and Fit they're two idiots that scream and holler, talk over you, threaten to kick you off the show, and talk about how women ain't shit all day, and they're not talking about sex, kick them to the crowd, just a bunch of whiners. I'm going to go ahead and review one of their videos real quick, so let's go ahead and get to it. And this title is Redhead Girl Tried to Pull a Misogyny Card on Us. So let's go ahead and review it. I'm only going to review like maybe about 20 minutes of the video, maybe 30 minutes of the video at most, and then just, you know, call it a day. Let me go ahead and then I'll do more of the video later, because it's really a long video. It's an hour in 18 minutes. I'm not going to sit here and keep you guys up till 4 a.m. like I do in my old streams. So I'm just going to, like I said, I'll probably add another hour to this, and then from there we'll critique it. I wish, you know, Jennifer and Christina, all of them were in here now, but it's cool. It's all good. I ain't tripping. Got 3 of you watching in silence, so it's good. Let's do it. Without further ado, let's watch Fresh and Fit.
And when they're older and can't get a husband.
Yeah. Okay. I think just going back to the question, though, I think it's a little unfortunate that you guys don't want to at least even just say that you think that it's wrong, the reality is wrong. Because look, that the fact that that's the reality, that's the reality. Of course, yeah, I see that. But the fact that you guys just can't answer my question and say
because
yes, I
men
think
are
it's
objective.
wrong. It's a little telling. And you know what? You guys are saying the whole time that we don't want to answer questions, but you guys didn't even answer my question. So
we did answer it
No,
multiple times.
you guys,
you
you
don't
said
have
no
an opinion.
comment multiple times. I can't comment on that. No comment.
No,
But that's fine. If, you know.
we just
told
give
you.
you
We literally
a
gave you
long
an
ass
You
answer
just don't like the
Maybe-
answer.
of why reality is
Yeah.
the way it is.
But if you would have asked us, we were like, okay, but what do you think? What do you think? What's okay? But don't worry about what other people are outside of it, but how do you?
This is the difference between how men and women think. This is a perfect example right now. Guys, take your fucking notebooks down. Notice how we said we accept reality, right, for what it is. Fuck our feelings. We accept it for what it is.
Yeah.
You guys want us to get on the female lens and feel it's wrong or right.
Our hope.
And we're telling you that reality is immoral, so we don't care. Men aren't, our feelings are irrelevant. We accept objective reality. So, oh, how do I feel about this? We don't feel anything. We accept it.
I understand the reality, but this was a segment. This was the part of the show that you guys were saying, do you have any questions for us? And I was asking
answered
you
it.
for your opinion, and you guys were saying, oh, I can't comment on this. Maybe you guys should just watch this podcast back and see what I was saying, because I feel like you guys are not understanding, or you just don't want to. You don't want to say the words, which I understand, because this is what your podcast like relies on. This is your whole basis of your podcast. You guys are like reframing misogynistic ideals for modern men to consume and be okay with. So, but that was my question. And
Can
if
you
you guys
tell
didn't want to
us
answer it, that's
What
fine.
was misogynist?
Yeah, can you tell us what was misogynistic about the podcast?
Please tell us.
You guys can just scroll through your Instagram page, you guys.
Can you tell us what was misogynistic?
Just one thing.
One thing.
Because that's a pretty serious claim.
It is.
That's a
Yeah.
pretty
You guys have your
Assertive
preferences, and you guys have your preferences, which is fine. But there are definitely some misogynistic tendencies you guys have, especially throughout
Can
your
you tell us
Instagram
what it is
page.
then?
Yeah, for example, on one of your posts, I believe you said there was an example that you wanted to hook up with a girl. She didn't want to hook up with you, which is fine. Like you said it was fine.
Yeah.
But I had to put her in her place. So I said, okay, guys, if a girl doesn't want to hook up with you, that's fine, but put her in her place. You got to call another girl in front of her and let her know. Like, it just seems like in that little video I saw, it's like your ego is so hurt by the fact that a woman doesn't want to sleep with you that you have to go out of your way to disrespect her instead of just leaving her apartment and going. You have the freedom to do what you want to do. You want to go sleep with 5 girls after her? That's fine. But it's just like, you guys definitely have those misogynistic tendencies, and I see it in your comments, girls, going off in your comments, and it's just like, but I get it. This is the basis of your podcast. This is why guys watch your podcast. Your fan base is just like you guys, a lot of the time, I'm sure. But I mean, it's interesting to hear, and I thank you for inviting me. And
All right,
you know
so
what?
hold
It
on.
was
No.
great.
I gotta rebut that real quick.
No, of course, yeah.
So, okay. So when a woman says, I don't want to have sex, she's making a boundary, essentially, right? She's saying she doesn't want to have sex, right?
Yeah.
So what is wrong with me also having a boundary and saying, if you don't want to have sex, now you no longer get my attention, leave? What is wrong with that?
No, there's something wrong with that.
Okay, so how is that?
So let me ask you guys a question. For those of you who are watching, still 4 of you are. If you take a woman out on a date and you bring her back to your house and she don't want to smash, would you kick her out of the house? Basically, the reason why I'm watching this video, if Rick sent it to me, the issue was he was telling men on his Instagram, if you bring a woman back to your house and she don't want to fuck, then you kick her out of the house. Well, you get on the phone in front of her with another woman, inviting her over, and then you kick that girl out. So it's sort of like saying you're not really important. Like you're not going to waste my time or money. That's basically like what he's implying. That is like what the whole idea I'm getting from this. So basically, his strategy is if you bring a woman back and you want to sleep with her and she says no, you don't waste any more time. You get on the phone with another woman, invite her over, and you kick that girl out of the house. So obviously this girl here has a problem with that because she's saying that it's rude and disrespectful. So if I'm understanding that right, Rick, could you comment on Facebook on the inbox and tell me if that is the case? Because I want to know if that's what because that's what I'm getting from this video already from what I'm playing. But if I'm wrong, tell me. If I'm right, let me know. But let me go ahead and play some more.
Is that misogynistic that I'm exerting a boundary as well in response to her exerting her boundary?
No, saying to leave is fine. I'm saying, you said that they're like, no, guys, you got to put her in her place. You got to put her in her place, and in that moment, you got to call a girl in front of her. I'm pretty sure, yeah.
I said I'll call a girl in front of her.
Yeah.
But the point is that you need to remember. Keep in mind that I'm teaching men, not women.
Mhm.
So what a lot of guys will do is they'll let the girl sit there and continue to get their non-sexual attention and think it's okay
And hope.
reinforce
Oh, yeah.
you're reinforcing undesirable behavior from the woman, and you're letting her know it's acceptable for you to withhold sex from me. And what I'm telling men is, no, that's not acceptable. Kick her out of your house.
But wait a minute. But I thought that women that had high body counts was also bad. So in theory, if you're telling men, if women don't want to have sex with you, you kick them out. If women were to give in and say, okay, well, I'll just have sex with you because you brought it back to your house, then doesn't that raise their body count? Doesn't that actually contradict a lot of these teachings to guys? Is that whether it's Red Pill, Manosphere, MGTOW, Dating Coach, all these, they tell men to never date a woman with a high body count, even though they never clearly given you a specific answer as to what number. Like it's the minimum wage argument. Give me a fair number that's the minimum wage. Okay, in this case, give me a number that is considered a high body count for a woman. Now, let's say Mike Anderson's watching, Rulal's watching, Brandon Rogers, whoever. What do y'all consider a high number body count for a woman? Meaning she had so many sexual partners, you considered it just way too high, in that she would be, I don't know, either damaged goods or you would date her. Now, let's just say hypothetically, I think 15 is considered too high. Well, Mike Anderson could say, well, Mr. Rose, if you consider 15 too high, what do you call 14? So see, there's always that gray area where if you give a number, then the number under it must be the correct number. So then they would say, okay, well, what's the difference between a woman who sleeps with 14 guys and a woman who sleeps with 15 guys? What is the difference? Now, let's say if you say, well, I consider 14 just as bad as 15. Okay, then what do you think of 13? Well, see, what is the difference between 13 and 15? The difference is 2. But in theory, 13 and 15, if 15 is a high number, you may consider 13 to be a high number. Right? So that's why they never can give a thorough number as to what's considered. They say a woman with a high body count. Well, what's a high body count? What number makes it a high body count is the question. So they're actually demonizing women to a certain degree by saying, if I have sex with all of you women, you're a whore and your number's just too high. But in the same sense, they're telling guys, well, if these women aren't smashing you on the first date in every case, just get rid of them. So that if these women are giving their bodies up at a high alarming rate, then they're actually going to become the woman you don't want to be with. But then in the same sense, you're telling women that they need to have sex with a lot of guys in the same breath. See, and that's why I say when it comes to men's rights or when it comes to these talking points from the men's side of it, it's no different than hearing these feminists talk. Feminists and Manosphere and MGTOW and Red Pill, they're dumb and dumber. It doesn't matter if it's the man or the woman. It's selfish, spoiled, entitled human beings. It's dumb and dumber, or dumb and dumber, which means the woman and the man in this case are both dumb and dumber. That's the purpose I'm making. Now let's continue the video.
Just like you have the ability to exert your boundary. I don't want to have sex. I don't feel comfortable. Cool. That's fine. On the male side, I don't feel comfortable hanging out with you anymore now. You have to leave. The problem is this, ladies. Anytime a man exerts a boundary, right, of what he wants from a woman, especially if it's sexual, it's considered misogynistic. So in other words, it's okay for women to say what they want from men, but it is not okay for men to say what they want from women.
And that is fair. I do agree with that. I know Fresh and Fit are they're dumb and dumber. Mo, Larry, and Curly, the two stooges, instead of three stooges, I call them the two stooges. But I will admit that when men have standards, it sort of gets shot down. Like, for example, if let's say a guy said, well, I don't date fat women, he can get canceled for that. Let's say a guy says, I don't date a certain type. Like, he can get canceled for that. But women have no problem saying, yeah, I want a tall guy, any guy under 6 feet. They even have videos of women laughing at dick sizes. Right? But if a man laughed at a woman's weight, he's going to get canceled. So I kind of do agree with that women sort of do have a leverage in the dating market. That I'll admit.
And what we simply tell guys is, you have the option to kick her out too. You don't have to sit there and tolerate her leveraging sex against you for compliance. That is not misogynistic. And do you know what the definition of misogyny is?
I'm saying that's not.
Yeah, but just because she's not having sex with you all the time doesn't mean it's bad either. Like, these guys make it sound like it's the end all be all. If she's not having sex with you, kick her out. And I'm like, well, what if you already had sex with her the last date and this date you just want to chill? What's wrong with watching a movie and having a glass of wine? What's wrong with cuddling and messing around? What if you got head but you didn't smash? I'd still consider that a win-win. What if, like, you didn't smash for the first 2 dates, but then you smashed the third date? So see, there's always, like, you don't always have to have sex every time you meet a person. Sometimes it could take, I don't know, a month. Sometimes it could take 2 months to smash. But at the end of the day, the problem with guys like Fresh and Fit, hey, Veronica, how's it going? The problem with guys like Fresh and Fit is they think that life revolves around sex. And when you start talking to, like, small-minded fools like them, then that's when you know that there's no rational conversation. These guys are very emotional. They're very emotional. These guys get butthurt and their feelings hurt over rejection. Dude, it's not that big of a deal. As men, we actually handle rejection better than women do because we get used to it. If you're a man in 2021 and you haven't gotten used to rejection, it better be because you barely are old enough to start dating, so you can't handle it. But it's either that's your only way, because if you're in your 20s or 30s or late teens, you can never tell me, you can never ever say you've never been rejected. Never. You can never ever say that, even though there's some guys that their little egos tell them, I've never been rejected before. I've never been told by a woman. Ooh. I'm like, you're a liar. You're a fucking liar. Even a good-looking guy like Brad Pitt admitted he's got rejected before. So, dude, what makes you think you haven't got? And I'm supposed to believe that? I had a couple of guys tell me, I've never been rejected my entire life. Nah. I've never been told no by a woman. Nah. I'm like, well, then you must be raping them. Because that's the only fucking thing, that's the only way that you can pull something like that off, bro. What, do you got a gun pointed at her head while you're at it? You little narcissist prick.
You telling her to leave or you leaving is
what does misogyny
misogynistic.
mean? What does misogyny mean?
Misogyny, it's like, being against women in general.
No, it is the hatred and or contempt of women.
Yes.
Where do we say we hate women?
Definition.
Please tell us where. Where do we hate women? Where?
Where do you hate women?
Yes.
Is that the only definition of misogyny?
Yeah. Which is why
very strong word.
It's a very serious accusation. So if you're going to say that, then back it up with. We have no problem.
Yeah, I mean, I just
misogynist.
gave you a full example. You can play it back on the podcast later if you want to listen to it again. But you've even called a woman a bitch on your podcast live. Sorry for saying the B word.
Hold on. How does me exerting a boundary show that I hate women?
Maybe she meant patriarchal and that's
No.
misogynistic.
Well, I think what it is she used the wrong terms of saying he's a misogynist, but a misogynist undertone or whatever you want to call it. But it's the fact that he's so dismissive, and in the way he puts it makes him out to be an asshole. And the problem is like, you can be direct all you want, and that's cool. But if you're going to be like a dickhead and an asshole just because he's not giving you sex, that does make you come off as a narcissistic prick or an entitled prick. That's basically the way she should have worded it instead of saying misogynist.
Let her answer it.
Let her answer it.
Thank you.
I already explained it wasn't the fact that you were setting a boundary. You were saying in the video, oh, I have to put a woman in her place because she doesn't want to have sex with me. So I'm going to go ahead and call a woman in front of her just to make a point and make her feel disrespected. And it's just like that type of behavior is just so unnecessary. If your ego is that hurt that a woman doesn't want to sleep with you, then just leave or just tell her to leave. Like, why do you have to be disrespectful like that? And then like on another video, you were on live calling a woman a bitch. It's like, I just think that's a little disrespectful, very disrespectful.
Okay, so there's a couple things that here. So number one, by telling a girl to leave, that does not mean that I hate women.
I didn't say that.
That's what misogynistic means. It means you hate women.
That's what you're saying, basically.
I didn't say because he told her to leave, that's misogynistic. I'm saying he was saying that guys, you gotta put women in their place. Like if we're some submissive dogs that need to be put in our place, like no, we don't.
Who leads relationships, men or women?
Who leads relationships?
Yeah.
Men most of the time, yeah.
Okay. So by asserting dominance, what are you doing? You're taking leadership of the relationship, right? Or the interaction, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, but that doesn't mean that she's entitled to give you sex every time too, dumbass. Like, yes, men do typically leave relationships, even though I don't really see that too much often nowadays. But he is right. Men do often lead. But just because you lead the relationship doesn't mean you're entitled to sex. He's like, I'm establishing dominance. Nah. I'm establishing dominance now. I'm like, dude, just because I'm a man and I establish some sort of assertive role doesn't mean I'm going to always have sex on every date I go on. That's like the dumbest thing ever. He's basically using the man providing and leading as a role, as some sort of like entitlement to sex. Like, so what are you going to do? Rape them because they don't do it fresh and fit? You bumbling, stumbling idiots? You stupid motherfucker, you? Let's continue to play his video.
That's what you're saying, basically.
I didn't say because he told her to leave, that's misogynistic. I'm saying he was saying that guys, you gotta put women in their place. Like if we're some submissive dogs that need to be put in our place, like no, we don't.
Who leads relationships?
What's up, Crispy?
Men or women?
Who leads relationships?
Yeah.
Men most of the time, yeah.
Okay. So by asserting dominance, what are you doing? You're taking leadership of the relationship, right? Or the interaction, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're asserting dominance, which is what men should do and what makes men attractive in the first place. So attraction isn't moral, as I said before.
Yeah,
And
but
nowhere
throwing
in
a
there
temper
does it say
tantrum and
I
throwing
hate
a woman out of the
women
house because she don't want to fuck you is not
Like I
establishing
said,
an attraction.
There's nothing wrong with a woman saying, I don't want to have sex. And it's also nothing wrong for me to say, you need to leave and I'm going to call another woman.
Okay.
I'm in my own home. I can do what I want. If I want to call a woman in front of her, that's whatever. But that in no means I'm a misogynist.
You're not a misogynist, but you're just
The
taking
way
it
you
personal.
Talk about women. Yeah, and it's just I'm saying the way you were saying it. Oh, if a woman doesn't want to have sex with you, men, you have to put her in her place.
Okay,
like
you got
I
to use
hate
logic here.
repeating myself.
You're going off of feelings. Like,
So it's not what he said, it's how he said it, right?
No, it is what he said. He said what he said in the video. You guys can play it or rewatch it. I don't know what you want to do. And like I said, you've called women a bitch. The B
when did I
word
call a
on
woman a bitch?
it's on your Instagram page. I saw it yesterday.
Okay, so hold on.
What she do?
Hold on. Yeah, because that's the thing.
Yeah.
I've called men bitches. I've called
Yeah.
women bitches. I've insulted everyone. Here's the thing that you don't like. Women have fought for equality. Therefore, they're equal and they can make their own decisions, correct? From a society standpoint, right?
Yeah.
Same rights, same privileges, whatever. I can't think of a right or a privilege that a woman has that a man doesn't. I can find privileges that women have that men
A
don't.
lot.
Yeah, that's
With
true.
that said, women are free to make their choices. The difference is that there's consequences to these choices. You don't want to have sex? Cool. Now you must leave. Nothing misogynistic about me exerting a boundary just like she did. Number two, calling a woman a bitch. Under what context? Because if a woman is acting rude or crass, she can be called a bitch just like any other woman and or any other man. I insult everyone the same. I've kicked men off this show. I've kicked women off this show. So calling a women don't get privilege for being women just to act ridiculous and not be called out on it. If I call a woman a bitch, under what context was it? She probably did something wrong for me to call her that.
Yeah, but see, the thing is it's just he has like this real aggressive demeanor. Like, if you don't do what I say, then you get the fuck out of my life and fuck you, bitch, and keep your foot on her neck. And it's just like he has like these just this aggressive mentality. And Fresh and Fit will fit the guy who's more fit and older than the other guy. The problem is that they have such a bad attitude. Like, you can tell that, you know, if they don't get their way, they just start trying to strong arm you. And it's just like, they're like, we're just dominating. We're dominating our male. We're just dominating our male dominance. I'm like, yeah, but you're coming off as like this guy who's like in his feelings because you got rejected. That's like the way it comes off, is you come across like, you don't want to fuck me? Well, then fuck you, you goddamn bitch and stuff. It's like, dude, what do you mean? I'm a certain dominance. That makes me attractive. No, that doesn't. That makes you an arrogant fucking dickhead. Like, they think that every date you go on, you're supposed to have sex. That's impossible. You know, Fit kind of reminds me of the guy that works out at the gym a lot. But the difference is he works out at the gym and has the body, but he still can't get girls. And believe it or not, there's guys that are like that. I knew a guy personally, worked out at the gym, very good looking, muscles and everything, right? And he was a good looking guy, like kept in shape. And I was talking to him one time, I'll never forget. And I said, hey, so you seem like you get a lot of girls and stuff. He said, man, a lot of people tell me that, but man, I'm gonna be honest with you, I can't get any. I'm like, bullshit. You're just saying that to make me feel better, right? Like, just trying to cheer up the fat guy. You're just saying that to make me feel better. And this dude's like, look, dude, I'm going to be flat out honest with you. Okay. No bullshit aside. I can't get girls. I'm like, explain to me how a guy that works out, stays in shape, keeps in health, cannot get girls. He's like, the thing is, they come up to me, but I can't keep them. I have no game. And he said, I'm not saying this to make you feel better, because if I was getting the girls, I would tell you. And I have no problem with that. And he told me flat out, I work out, I'm in good shape, and I still can't get them. Fit reminds me of that guy. He reminds me of that guy that works out at the gym. He's like, man, these girls should be all over me. Nah, because I fucking work out at the gym. Nah. And then there's some fat guys that are pulling bitches, and he's pissed off about it. Well, you made him, you let him have pussy, and you let the fat guy have pussy. You'd have made me wait. I'm like, it's because of your attitude. Baby, be honest. That plays a big part. And I'm not saying I get a lot of girls. I don't. But the thing is it's just, he has Rick said this guy has a very demanding demeanor. Yes, he does. You could tell he's a little bit controlling too. He's like a little narcissist, dude. I mean, who would want to date a guy that sits there and nitpicks and complains about and questions every little thing you do? I mean, imagine having to wake up to bed next to that guy every day. Jesus Christ of mercy. The guy is such a tryhard. Yeah, he does. No reason to be so aggressive rather than Napoleon complex, trying to live up to the methodical definition. Yes. What's up, man? Rick said, yeah, I knew plenty of guys at the gym who worked out and still couldn't get girls. He reminds me of that guy. Yes, exactly. So he had the gym, he has the body and stuff. He talks about, if you're fat, don't even, like, he said something about fat guys the other day, which is funny because they always want to throw fat guys under the bus. But like I said, you'll have a pillhead trying to tell an overweight guy he needs to lose weight. I'm like, dude, at least my addiction is not nowhere near expensive as yours. It costs way more for a pill than it does to eat out. Okay. But anyways, getting back to my argument. He said, if you're fat, don't sit here and get mad at me. You got to lose weight. He reminds me of that guy that works out at the gym, puts all them hours in, which I'm not fit shaming him. I'm glad to hear he's in shape. Hell, I wish I could do the same thing to a certain degree, you know, really push my body to the limit. But he reminds me of that guy that just complains that is at the gym and working out. Man, these girls still won't come my way. Nah, he's one of those guys. I've actually, like I said, the guy that actually that I knew that worked out at the gym, he was actually a really nice guy. He was a really, really nice guy. Like, when I was talking to him, he was real cool. I just said, man, so what type of girls you talk to? He's like, man, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, what type of girls you normally go for? He's like, dude, I don't talk to girls. I'm like, what are you talking about? You gay? He's like, no, I like women. I said,
Okay, so then what type of girls you pull? He said, bro, look, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't get girls. He's like, I'm like, so you never tell me girls come up to you? He's like, they do, but they don't stay. He's like, I had no game. And I said, man, you're just saying that to make me feel better. He's like, no, it's true. And he sounded very convincing. After a while, I believed him. I said, wow, I would have thought. He said, yeah, everybody thinks because you work out at the gym and you're this good looking guy, you're just gonna get all these chicks. He's like, it's not entirely true, dude. At the end of the day, you still have to know how to talk to them. He's like, dude, I knew guys that were fucking 300 pounds pulling hotter bitches than me. I'm like, for real? He's like, yes. Don't let the gym looks fool you. Now, there are some guys who work out at the gym that get girls. I'm not saying it doesn't help with your confidence, but to be honest, that guy I knew, he worked out at the gym, he couldn't get girls. And I'm go ahead and press play.
Are you a misogynist because you refer to other women as bitches? I'm sure you have referred to other women as bitches. Are you a misogynist for that?
When women refer to other women as bitches, it's like, oh, hey, bitch. It's not like you're a fucking bitch. Like, no, sorry.
Okay, have you never called a woman a bitch in a degrading form? To shit on her, or you fucking bitch? You've never done that.
What's up,
Of
Alex?
course, I've called a woman.
Are you a misogynist?
No, but
Okay.
I'm trying to say that in that video, what you were doing is like, it seems like your ego was so hurt that the girl didn't want to sleep with you. That you had to go out of your way to call a woman in front of her just to make her feel bad. And like you were talking about women in a way that you have to teach them a lesson if they don't want to sleep with you. And it's just like, why? Why can't a woman just not want to sleep with you because she doesn't want to sleep with you?
And that's okay, but there's consequences to that.
Why should there be consequences if I don't want to sleep with you?
If you don't want to sleep with me, why should I continue to give you attention? You're not entitled to my time or my attention. That's the problem. So women are not entitled. I'm going to say that again. Women are not entitled to a man's time, attention, or resources if she does not want to reciprocate on her end and give him sexual access. You are not entitled to it.
Yeah, but not all women and men are into each other. Some men and women are friends. So does that mean, I mean, just because I have a dick and she has a pussy doesn't mean we're always having sex. And just because I have female friends in my circle doesn't always mean I'm having sex with them. That's stupid. I mean, this doesn't make any sense. Like, in his mind, he feels like men should have sexual access to any woman they want. And just because she accepts your date doesn't mean you're entitled to sex. I think that's, just because you took her out and you bought her a cheeseburger Happy Meal, that doesn't mean you're entitled to sex. Now you're going to say, well, what if he spent $300 on her? Then yeah, I could see his point when you invest more money. But why would you spend all that money on a girl that's just a date? Why would you do that? I mean, I know dating's not cheap nowadays, and I understand that, like, a typical date in Cali is like $250. A date in Texas, dinner, movie, you go frugal, you're probably looking about $60-$70, maybe. If you go frugal, like you don't go all out spending. So you're looking at between 60 and 100. I say under $100. You're looking at a typical date in the state of Texas. It's probably gonna cost you about $100 or less. If you go frugal, between 40 and 60. If you want to go a little bit over, a couple drinks or something, $100. And yeah, I agree that, Rick, that women also will use men just to take them out for free food, and they'll just use the fact that they're a woman or they're good looking. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree 100% with that. Women also do manipulate too. But the thing is the thing is Fitz he's not explaining that to her, that, hey, women also take advantage of men too. To be fair, these guys are trying to take the power back by withdrawing attention from women who never wanted his attention in the first place. Facts. Let's keep playing it.
And for a man to exert boundaries and say, listen, you got to get out, and or call another woman in front of her, it doesn't matter. You no longer want to give what the man wants. He's within his right to kick you out any way he sees fit, just like you are within your right to withhold sex from him.
But does every man want sex on every date? Because a lot of times when my homegirls are telling me about their boyfriends, they're telling me the guys are not wanting to have sex, that they're too tired, that they went to work and worked all day. Crispy Cruiser, let's say you work a double, 16 hours, and your girlfriend's at the house. Do you think you're going to want to have sex? Let's say you went to work at 6 a.m. You get home at midnight, and you got to work at 6 a.m. Do you think you're going to want to have sex? No. Fuck, I wouldn't. Motherfucker, I need my sleep. I got to get right back up at 6 a.m. tomorrow to go right back to work. Why would I want to have sex when I'm working so many hours? Bro, do you know the last month I've been working double shifts? I've been working both jobs. I've been putting in 80 hours a week. I haven't even had sex on my mind in about damn near a month because I'm working so much. So imagine there's some woman at the house, but you work 16 hours. You think you're going to want to fuck? Hell nah. Most guys ain't going to want to fuck, but I need some sleep so I can get up in the morning. So believe it or not, I've had women tell me before, my homegirls tell me before, that their dude's working so many hours, he's not even in the mood to have sex anymore. And that the girls are actually wanting to have sex more than the guys. See, this guy keeps making it sound like, oh, it's the guys are the ones that want to have sex. These women are withdrawn. But believe it or not, there's women out there that enjoy sex more than the guys do. In fact, I know girls that enjoy sex more than I do. Facts. I know women that enjoy sex more than I do. Which I'm not saying I don't enjoy it. But I'm saying I know women who enjoy it more than me. So this whole stereotype that all men enjoy more sex than women is completely asinine because I know tons of women who enjoy sex more than the guys. Especially if the guy is working, has a job, and he has to bust his ass at work. And especially if it's a manual labor job or whatever the case is, the last thing on his mind is sex when he gets home. I can tell you that. He wants a cold beer, some steak, with some fries on the side, a little bit of ketchup and that A1 steak sauce with a little mashed potatoes, and take your ass straight to bed right after that. And guess what? Rinse and repeat for another damn day. Facts. When I had a girlfriend for 5 years, then having sex 3 times a week was enough for me. Sometimes I wasn't in the mood and it was even boring. Yes, dude. I had a friend of mine. He got married to this one girl and he used to have sex with her every day. And then he told me they went like 3 months with no sex one time and she got mad and started bitching at him. So he said he said that he started having sex with her once a week. And that's it. He said, dude, my homeboy's been married for probably about 7 years. And he told me verbatim, he said, she's the one that's been wanting the sex more than me. And he had no problem admitting. He said, dude, I work long hours. I work in construction. He said, when I get home from 12-hour shift, the last thing on my mind is sex. He said, I'm going to keep it 100 with you. He's like, I got 2 kids with her. My main focus is my children and taking care of the family. He's like, I'm not saying I'm not sexually into her, but I have other priorities. And plus my work is making me tired. So I'm not in the mood if I'm always working. So the women, I'm not saying they're lazy, but especially a lot of these stay-at-home moms, they stay at home all day. So they got to build up a lot of energy, right? The guy's coming home, he's all like, I'm tired, God damn it. No, I just got off of work. No, 14, 15 hours. No. I just want to know, did you make anything to eat or did you give me a cold beer and a nice steak sandwich before I go to bed? No. And she's going to look at him like, well, are we going to have sex or what? Because it's been a while. And then all of a sudden, that guy's going to be like, well, I would love to, but I'm just too tired. And I'm just not in the mood. Maybe next week, we'll have to schedule it. I'll put you in my schedule. There's just too many hours to fucking work. And the last thing I want to have is fuck. Dude, listen. And it's nothing out of normal. It's just your priorities get mixed up. And when you've been with that person for so long, you don't have sex with them as much. That's normal. These guys have this one-sided track mind. It's crazy. Yeah.
Like you just said there should be consequences if a woman doesn't want to sleep with you. That
Yes.
is so troubling. Like
How's that
that
troubling?
is just, you don't see how that's weird? Like that's,
Yeah, it is fucking weird, dude. You're sitting here saying, well, there's consequences for you not sleeping with me. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna rape her now, you dumb motherfucker? I mean, dude, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? This guy is a perpetuate child. See, this is why I don't follow like these guys that are in Red Pill and all that, because it went from like normal cool guys way back in the day to like these idiots that infiltrated it. And they're, look, Fitz the guy at the gym that works out and can't get girls. So he's bitching. And here's the crazy thing is he has access to women now because he blew up on there. He's got clout. And he's even admitted this. He said, man, my sex game has gone up and I've had sex with all these Instagram baddies and these OnlyFans. I've been fucking them. And I'm like, okay, so if that's the case, then why are you bitching about not having sex with every female you meet? I mean, like, dude, what's up with that, man? It's just, there's no way you're going to have sex like with every woman you meet. And it's like he's throwing a temper tantrum about it. It's like, and the fact is he has a lot of crazy followers that actually like co-sign with him on this. I think it's a little weird. Well, she's going to suffer the consequences for not sleeping with me. Nah. Jesus, Lord of mercy.
it's weird.
So it's okay for you to have multiple dates with a guy.
Consequences?
Hold on. It's okay for you to go on multiple dates with a guy, right? Pip everything, and you never sleep with him. That's okay too, right?
Wait, I'm sorry. Is he entitled to having sex with me just because he takes me on dates?
No, I'm saying if you go multiple dates with a guy, right, and
Yeah.
you feel like, you know what, I don't want to give him sex. That's okay, right?
I think you should do whatever you want to do on guys, and like sexually, if you don't want to have sex with a man after 5 dates, you don't have to.
Perfect. So if he wants to call a girl in front of you, that's his prerogative, right?
Of course. I'm just saying he was saying to do that as a consequence because that's
to shame
yeah,
a
to
woman?
shame a woman.
Well-
It's because
Well, the thing what should have been said, this is just common sense in my opinion, is he should have told her, you think it's okay for a man to take you out on 5 dates and you're not getting nothing romantically and or sex or relationship. Well, I think she could do whatever she wants. And I'm like, okay, so then basically you and him were just friends. So then my question is why you just didn't tell him before it got to 5 or 6 dates that it wasn't going to be anything more than just friends. See, the problem and I stress this out all the time, the problem with women is that most of them, and this is my opinion from what I see my homegirls do, is they're not upfront right off the bat with guys when it comes to where they stand. Because I'm telling you this right now. The first or second date, the woman will already know by then if she likes you or not. There's no need to go on 8 or 9 dates and then she tells you the bad news. Good or bad, I mean. You should, as a man, well, the logical way is you should receive the news within the first or second date of exactly where y'all stand. And then if the guy wants to take her out and say, hey, I enjoy your company, I appreciate the fact that you friend zoned me or you told me this wasn't going anywhere, and the guy wants to then say, hey, I'll take a risk and see where this goes, then that's on him. But if she keeps going on all these dates with him and she's not telling him that it's going anywhere, then that does make her look like the asshole. And it does, really does. But just because a girl doesn't have sex with you on the first date doesn't mean she's a bad guy either. And I think that's the part that these guys misconstrued, is that they think that it's an end all be all if you're not fucking her right away. It's like, no. Because most of those girls that put out in the first date, none of those guys respect them anyway. Facts. Let me ask you guys in the comment section. Crispy Cruiser, all you guys, Alex. Would you ever respect a woman that put out on the first date? Not saying she's a bad human being, but would you respect her after that? Because I can tell you my answer, no. Because the reason why I say this is because I'm thinking in my mind, how many other guys did you open up to on the first date? I wouldn't have a problem with the woman having some sort of standard. But my only thing is, if I have standards, it better be respected. Facts. I don't want to hear this feminism talking point where you have standards, but I can't. No, it goes both ways. None of this fat shaming, none of this whole, like, well, I could fat shame you, but you can't fat shame me. No, absolutely not. It's got to go both ways. My personal opinion. I'll go ahead and play.
You're not having sex with me,
Well,
I'm gonna call someone and make you feel some type of way.
Yes,
It's like,
because the consequence is him calling the girl. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the same thing as a girl, punching a guy for not having sex.
punching a guy? You said?
No, punishing.
Oh, punishing a guy.
Oh,
The point is that it's okay for women to withhold sex from men with zero consequence, but it's not okay to kick out girls and or hold them to some kind of consequence when they don't want to give sex.
You can do whatever you want. I just think that in the video that I'm talking about, you guys are saying it in a very disrespectful way, saying that there should, and like you just said, there should be consequences if she doesn't want to sleep with you. It's like, at the end of the day, I'm sorry, guys are not entitled to your body, like regardless of how many
And you're
dates
not
you go
entitled
on.
to a man's time.
Yeah, and
It
if
sounds-
you, yeah, sorry, go
sorry.
ahead. No, go ahead. I've
It
been talking
sounds
too much.
rapey. I get what you're saying, but he probably didn't mean it that way.
But it does sound a
No,
little
no,
rapey.
no,
Just
no.
a little bit.
No.
Yeah.
See, this is the thing.
Man.
And this is why this podcast is so important.
Yep.
Guys, this is the reality of the world. Women want to be able to exercise the discretion to give you sex anytime they see fit, but they don't want you to exercise the discretion to withdraw attention and or time at any time you see fit when you no longer get what you want.
That's not what I'm saying.
fair enough.
No, I literally said she doesn't want to give me sex, she's got to leave. But you guys have a problem with that when I say there's consequences. Just like it just.
Nah.
Well, I will say this. He's right and wrong at the same time. He's right in a sense to where women do think they're entitled to a man's time and money and resources, even if she's not reciprocated with any romance. I'll leave it at that, with a romantic encounter, In other words, you can give me the girlfriend treatment, but I'm not giving you the girlfriend experience. I said this before on my channel. To men, if you're not getting the girlfriend experience, don't give her the girlfriend treatment. But it doesn't have to be just centered around sex. There's other ways you can grade it. But the thing he's wrong on is that when he's saying because she doesn't give you sex, you just kick her to the curb right away. It's like, so you ask for sex within the first 5 minutes and she says no, so you just kick her to the curb. It's like, just like that. Like, no, I mean, sometimes girls will say no, and then later on things end up happening. You have a couple drinks and one thing goes to another. Things happen. There's always, it's not like two people just meet up and say, you want to have sex? Yes. I mean, sometimes that does happen, but a lot of the times it eases its way to that point. He's basically saying, eliminate that and just get straight to the point. I want to have sex with you. Are you going to give it to me? Because if not, I'm going to throw you out, or I'm just going to kick you to the curb. I think that's a very aggressive demeanor and a very butthurt way of doing it. And it's like saying, if it's not your ego, then what is it? He's telling women they're entitled to a man's time. They think they're entitled to a man's time, but he's also saying I gave you 30 minutes of my time, therefore I'm entitled to sex. I gave you $10 for that Happy Meal, I'm entitled to sex. I gave you $0 for anything, I'm still entitled for sex. There are guys that are like this, that'll say, well, I spent 30 minutes with you and I think I'm entitled to sex. Yep, I'm entitled to sex now, just because I spent 30 seconds with you. Hey, I took you to the dollar menu. Remember that double cheeseburger I bought you now? So you gonna bend that over for me now? Let me hit it now. See what I'm saying? We as men are just as entitled as the women are. That's the point that I'm making of this video. It's within human nature for us to be greedy and selfish. We all want, a piece of our pie. But a lot of the times when people want something, it comes in the confines of taking away from somebody else. And I think that's what the issue is. The problem is there's not a compromise. Just because a woman is not having sex with you doesn't mean you're going to have a bad time. And I think that's where some people misconstrued that. Just because she's not fucking you on the first date or the 15th date, doesn't mean that it's a waste of time. Doesn't mean that.
I'm saying the manner in which you're going about it and saying that women have to be, like I said, have to be punished. Like there's consequences because you don't want to have sex with me. That I have to make you feel bad because you don't want to have sex.
If you desired behavior, you should punish that bad behavior.
And you were talking about women as if we're like
punish that bad behavior just because they said I don't want to have sex with you, dude. So that's bad behavior. You are exactly the women you're talking about. Like the self-entitled, all this, You're exactly the same way, bro. How the hell are you going to say because she didn't want to have sex with your dumb ass, all of a sudden that I'm going to punish her bad behavior for not fucking me? Nah. I'm going to punish her bad behavior for not fucking me? Nah. You're going to punish him. So her not saying sex is bad behavior? Really? Dude, you can't be that much of a narcissistic prick. Oops. Punish bad behavior for not fucking you. You know how stupid you sound, bro? Oh, my God. We got a bunch of idiots on the internet. That's for damn sure. Facts. Fresh and Fit are just like hookup artists. They're no different than these guys that are like, how to sleep with a woman in less than 24 hours. That's basically what they are. I mean, which is fine. It's whatever. I guess, whatever. Just they have a very narcissistic pattern about them.
Dogs that have to be submissive and trained into being these submissive creatures that, it's like there's just something wrong with that to me.
Just so you know, right? Most Western women are not feminine at all. Mm-hmm. So to be a part of a man,
just like most Western men are not masculine. I'll repeat that. They just said that most Western women are not feminine. You're half correct, sir, because most of the Western men are not masculine. And if you want to throw me in the bus, that's fine. Throw me in my name in there. It's cool. Whatever. That's fine. Most Western men, including myself, let's just throw that in there. I'll throw my own name in there. I'll swallow my whole ego and throw myself under the bus. Most Western men are not masculine either, including those guys, including Fresh and Fit. Rick said you can have a lot of money and not get any girls and still be a whiny crybaby. Just ask Fresh and Fit. Yeah, both of those guys got 6-figure salary. Fit has got a body of a machine and still bitching about can't get women. Or still bitching about ain't shit women. Dude, he's the guy at the gym that works out all the time and he's the rich guy at the gym that works out all the time and has no women to show for it. Hey, Rick says how much you want to bet he's simping out behind the scenes. Yeah, a lot of guys are all talk, dude. A lot of people are all talk. Women too. A lot of these dudes are all talk with no bite. Or what's the word I want to say? All bark and no bite. Dude, there's a lot of people that are like this. A lot. And Rick, it wouldn't doubt it if he was simping on the side. I wouldn't doubt if he was even breaking bread with some of these bitches. And saying, hey, I'll pay you $400. You sleep with me. He's doing that, but he's not telling us. He's doing that behind the scenes. It wouldn't even cross my mind. He's like, I've never had to pay for pussy. That's a lie. That's a goddamn lie. When you say I've never had to pay for pussy, that is a goddamn lie. Let's go ahead and press play real quick.
lifestyle, hey, she may need to be trained to be feminine. So like that's normal. So women in Colombia,
Yeah, we should play the video.
oh,
We should play the video.
Let's play it.
Let's get the video and play it. We got 11,000 live viewers. Because here's the thing: if you're going to call someone a misogynist, then you need to be able to back it up. So we will give you the access to the video. Which video was it? Let's go on our Instagram,
TikTok.
and pull it up. Was
I
it
think
TikTok?
it's TikTok. We post on Instagram.
Okay.
I think so.
So is it on IG?
Yeah. So go
Yeah,
to
it's on IG.
Fresh and Fit.
Yeah, I guess it's on IG somewhere. We're gonna go on the Fresh and Fit one. And here's the thing: like I said, this isn't to attack you or anything, but it's just like if you're gonna make a claim and say someone's a misogynist, which is a pretty
And look, I get,
that's a pretty serious
I get
accusation.
how you feel, but to say misogynistic, man, that's a
No, look,
whole
and
nother
You
dynamic.
guys may think that like obviously it sounds like I'm being very harsh right now, but I'm not saying you guys are flat out going to be saying misogynistic things like, oh, women ain't, shit, whatever. But I'm saying I can tell that you guys have a lot of misogynistic tendencies in the way you think, maybe, and like
Oh, really?
I feel like you guys should be a little, I don't know, just be a little open minded to that. I think. I mean, there's nothing wrong with like being open minded to your flaws sometimes. I think everyone should be.
So you're saying that we hate women, basically?
I didn't. When did I say that?
Misogyny is the hate of women.
Yeah.
I
You're
said
saying that.
you're taking this to the extreme. I said that you guys, just like a lot of men, have some misogynistic tendencies, and I think you should be open to like maybe understanding some of your flaws. Just like I should be open to understanding my flaws. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. We can all improve in a lot of
Okay,
ways.
but we're asking you. You said we're
Not
misogynists.
Chris?
Yeah, you guys have.
Okay, so all right, let's
No,
which video is it? Which one?
Nah.
I don't want to have any bedroom fun. Totally cool. You can.
On left.
I
Here goes,
think
that's
I'm
it.
not sure.
That one, yeah.
Is this one it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, this is it.
This is it, right? When a girl's at your crib and she says, "Oh, I don't want to have any bedroom fun." Totally cool. You can't get mad. You basically get up, say, "All right, no problem," and you're gonna go call another girl, okay? And then what's gonna happen is she's gonna hear you talking to another girl. Competition anxiety spikes, and then you're gonna come back and you're gonna tell her, "Listen, I respect your boundaries. I understand you don't want to have any bedroom fun, but I got my needs, and I'll see you later." And you tell her to leave. Simple as that, guys. Never, ever let a girl leverage bedroom fun against you to try to get some compliance. She's within her right to not give you the fun, but you're within your right to get the fun from somebody else.
Okay, but what happens if you drove her to your house? What if you picked her up 30 miles away? What are you going to make her walk home? No, you're going to have to drive her home, right? And most guys that have to get on the phone and call another woman to come over, you can tell they're bluffing. Because if he had another bitch on speed dial, he would have called the female that was about it, right? If he had another bitch on speed dial, he would have already called her first. So you know he a motherfucking lie. So the thing is he's calling this other woman to make her feel bad so she'll have sex with him. To say, oh, I got other bitches on standby. But then she has sex with him, he doesn't respect her either way. That's a loss there, sister. You might as well just walk out. Now, the thing is, yeah, men are always going to have other options to most men. Yeah, I know that, Rick. But the thing is there's a difference between how you conduct yourself professionally and just being a straight up arrogant prick. This guy doesn't get his way, acts like a perpetuate child. In fact, the more videos I watch of these guys, the more it shows of their narcissistic tendencies. You're not always going to get your way. You're not always going to have sex with every woman you meet. This is not possible. It's not possible. Now, maybe in your little narcissistic brain, yeah, maybe. Maybe in your little arrogant little attitude that some of you have, sure. But in real life, it's a different scenario because otherwise you wouldn't be bitching. If these guys were fucking on every date, they wouldn't even have a channel. This guy gets women, but Rick, give that guy a rubber tortilla. Let me read your comments, Rick, from Facebook. Rick said what it is they want access to the women they can't have, and that's why they have that show. Yeah, that's true. I think what it is they want to have sexual access to any woman they want, and they don't want to be told no. That's what it comes down to. That's a very narcissistic outlook. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna rape these women because they didn't want to have sex with you? Really?
I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. What kind of world we're living in here?
Don't be stupid. Don't chase, replace.
Okay. What part about that was misogynistic? Please tell me, because that to me makes common sense.
It wasn't misogynistic. It was very
If you don't have to,
dismissive
be
and
cool.
disrespectful.
You say you're right. You can leave if you want to, but guess what? I got my rights as well. I want to get laid. Hey, Susie, what's up? Come
Of
through.
course.
What's wrong with that?
So what is
Yeah,
misogynistic about that
Of
video?
course, no. You have your right to whatever you want to do after that. You know what I'm saying? You don't see the part in the video where he's like, you said you have to manipulate the woman just because she play these mind games because she didn't want to have
Give her
sex with you.
anxiety.
Yeah, like give her anxiety, like literally give a woman
I wish
anxiety
somebody
because
would
she
try to
doesn't.
give me
Yeah, because she doesn't want to have sex with you. You said it
There's no
in
manipulation.
the video. You just said it.
Yeah.
She can
Sorry, Michael.
leave at any time. What do you say? Respect her boundaries.
Yep.
She can leave. What
Did you
part
not
that?
hear it? Did you not hear the video? He
Yeah,
said
competition
you
anxiety.
have to create a competition anxiety. So you want to give a woman anxiety because she doesn't want to have sex with you? Come on.
Okay,
Come on.
obviously you don't understand how women work.
You said it
Right.
in the video. I mean, you're
But I
very
get the
sensitive.
point of the video too, where like if that's what you're looking for, just to hook up, the other person has to respect that.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
if you tell
Well,
them
clearly
it's okay to
they don't
leave,
respect it because you guys are saying we're
But it's
misogynists for
also-
exerting that boundary.
you should be tactful. Like when you talk to people, like you have to be. You don't have to, but it's the right thing to do to consider their feelings.
Exactly, Crispy
You could be
Cruiser.
like, hey,
She clearly doesn't consider
you
my
don't have
feelings.
to call her in front of the
Oh,
girl.
here's the thing, here's
you
the
could
thing.
just be like, hey, can
Why-
I
why-
gotta do something.
Why should I respect her feelings when she's not giving me what I want? She's not respecting my feelings. So why should that's the problem. Women want it one-sided. I want you to treat me like a princess regardless of whatever. I want you to give me the attention, whatever. But when a man puts his foot down and says, listen, I have boundaries too and I have requirements as well. You don't want to fuck it out.
That's not.
So in other words, he's mad because she has boundaries and she's mad because he has boundaries. Wow. Again, somebody give Crispy Cruiser a rubber tortilla. It's a pointless conversation. It's basically read the title of the video. It's human nature for us to be greedy. That's why I played this video. There was a purpose of this because I wanted to get this point across. It's just left, right, up, down, sideways, whatever, politics, your working environment. Rather, people are trying to team up to get you fired. People piggybacking off your work, stuff like that. Your dating life, rather the woman's just looking for a free meal or the guy's looking for easy sex and I'm not going to call you back. Whatever the case is, we look out for our own best interest for most of us, for most people act and behave this way. And it's the same thing for feminism. It's the same thing for men's rights. It's the same thing for all of it. Essentially, every political faction, every dating scenario, it starts and ends with, what am I getting out of this? Which there's nothing wrong with being a little selfish, but you have to be reasonable at the same time. Rick said the problem is we're all snake oil salesmen. Women are also snake oil salesmen too. They just do it in different ways. Yeah, men and women both take advantage of each other in different ways. Yeah, Rick, I agree with that. You're 100% right. Men have certain things and certain needs, and women have theirs. And I agree. We both do it. Men and women both manipulate each other to a certain degree. Hell, men even manipulate other men. Women manipulate other women. We have different ways of doing it, but at the end of the day, we're still manipulating each other to a degree.
And I was very polite about it too. But if I call another girl, right? Here's the thing. I can't choose how a woman feels.
It's fine that
If I call another girl, it's called competition anxiety, which means other girls want guys that other women want to be with.
Okay, well then why didn't you just call that other girl in the first place if you weren't going to have sex with this one? Doesn't that make no sense at all? So you're basically telling a girl that didn't want to have sex with you, I'm going to guilt trip you by calling this other girl that will. Therefore, you are going to want to have sex with me because if not, this girl's going to have sex with me. And because she is going to have sex with me, you're going to miss out. Like, Jesus Christ. Narcissistic motherfuckers. Yeah, I know. Fresh and fit are idiots, dude. These guys are morons. At first, they sounded cool. And then when you listen to their videos, they're nothing but a bunch of whiny little bitches. But Fit's worse. Fresh is actually he's actually nice about it. Fit is just a complete dickhead. That guy has he's a perpetuate child. Like, he doesn't get his way, he starts screaming. One time he was screaming on camera real bad. And he was screaming so bad that he had a panic attack. And they actually had to stop the video. That's how this guy is not all there in the head. You can clearly see it. He was screaming and he started shaking his hands. And he's like, I better get what I want. No, you better give me my fucking bisexual urge. And he went so crazy that they had to shut the live stream off on this clown. And it's crazy how much of a lunatic this guy is, but he has such a massive following that people are funding this guy. It's a crazy world we live in, man. We need to pick better role models, I'll tell you that.
So if I call another girl and she feels competition anxiety, it's not my fault that she feels that way. I'm doing what I'm going to do. How she feels is irrelevant to me.
Right. It's fine that she does, that you do tell her, you know, hey, I'm looking for like a hookup or whatever. So like, you know, it's fine. Like I can have somebody over, but to actually call somebody in front, like that's kind of like this crap. Like
it's childish.
Lame.
It's
Yeah,
disrespectful.
very
Hold on. No. It's disrespectful that she doesn't want to have sex.
It's disrespectful that a woman
Yes.
doesn't want to have sex.
Because-
Disrespectful to who though?
Okay, it's disrespectful because I've spent my time hanging out with this woman and she doesn't want to have sex.
So what?
Money.
She doesn't want to have sex. Cool. You got to leave now. Like I said,
That's fine.
that's the problem.
Probably in her best
It is
benefit to
okay
leave.
for women to exercise they're able to leverage sex against men for compliance, but it's not okay for men to leverage attention for compliance.
Well, that's been established at that point. That's, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, but it's applied though, because if you're going on a date with a guy and then you're like, you know what, I'm going on a date with a guy, spend hours with him, have him spend the money, then you go to his place and you're like, you know what, I don't want to have sex. That's mad disrespectful. Why don't you tell him in the first place, you know what, I don't like you that much, but if you're the woman, say, hey, you know what, I don't like you that much, but let's be friends and then see what happens. No sex tonight. Tell them up front. Don't wait. Don't play this kind of
But some
monster.
people do like having sex on the
I have
first
a
date,
perspective
you know?
and I have a different type of view. So,
Sure.
in my opinion, I feel like if you go on a date with a guy and you don't like the guy, and let's say, like you said, you've been dating for a long time, if he invites you to his house, don't go to his house. Some girls go to a guy's house and like they're in bed with the guy,
Yep.
and they're cuddling with the guy,
Yep.
and they're there making out with you,
Half
doing the
naked.
most, and then when the guy tries to make a move, they're like, whoa, I'm out of here. Like, no. Don't end up in his room, in his bed, if you don't want to do
Yes,
anything.
makes sense.
Okay, I do agree with that. I agree that if you're on if I was on a date with a woman, I invited her back to my house. If she's not feeling me like that, she needs to tell me right then and there. Now, just because I bring her to my house and put her on the bed doesn't mean she has to comply either. Because I ain't raping a woman just because she came to my house. No, absolutely not. If she's not feeling it, she could tell me. She could tell me even at the last minute, but it's probably in her best interest to tell me before she goes to the house. But just because she says no right then and there doesn't mean if I took the risk and brought her back to the house, had a couple of drinks and things happen. How many times have you ever had a woman tell you no and then y'all end up smashing anyway? But her intentions was not to do anything. How many times have you guys have had that happen? Many times. So they have this very like blanket statement where she says no, she suffers the wrath of my fucking energy. Nah. And I'm like, but just because she said no doesn't mean you can't let it gradually get to that point. Right? But I do agree with this lady here that I do think that, you know, it usually 9 times out of 10, a guy invites you back to their house, it usually means there's going to be some sort of like romantic encounter. And I think if a woman's not feeling him, I think she should tell him before it gets to that point. I do agree with that. But that doesn't mean I'm going to take her to my house and rape her when she says no because she stepped in my door. So to be fair, it goes both ways. Well, see, the thing is, Alex, some men feel that if you don't have sex with a woman on a first date, you're wasting your time. And that's basically like guys like this will try to argue those talking points, is that you're wasting your time as a man. In my personal opinion,
I disagree respectfully with them because I think a woman who puts out on the first date, I think to me, fast sex is bad sex. And what I mean by fast sex is bad sex. You're probably gonna be like, well, you gotta have sex for 30 minutes or 45. No, that's not what I mean. Fast sex is bad sex. And what I mean by you have sex on a first date. Now, if it's just a hookup, it's a one night stand, you both agreed to it, I understand that. Let's say, you're giving her some money, she's talking about putting out, and y'all go about your business, y'all can still be friends. Okay, that happens, whatever. But I'm talking about like in a dating scenario, I don't think women should put out on the first date. The first time I meet a woman face to face, I don't think I should smash her on the first date because I think it eliminates, to me, it eliminates all the fun and the challenge of seeing if I can build something from this, right? I mean, unless you're just looking for sex, then whatever. But if you're looking for like a long-lasting romantic relationship that may lead to, marriage or something one day, I don't think. I mean, there are some couples that had sex on the first date and they end up getting married. Kudos to them. But to me personally, from my personal perspective, I think sex on the first date doesn't make it fun because what happens after that date is, why buy the cow when you get the milk for free? You feel like you've already accomplished what you're supposed to accomplish, or at least your mind puts it to that. So then you're not interested anymore. Because why buy the cow when you just got the milk for free? Right? I think you should have to work. I think both people should have to work for that point. Get the romance involved. There's nothing wrong with having great conversation with somebody. There's nothing wrong with cuddling and messing around. There's nothing wrong with having a Netflix and chill. Nothing wrong with that shit. And if you do have sex on the first date, I'm not saying you're a bad person. I'm not saying it's the end of the world and you ain't shit and blah 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 blah. Well, what I am saying is I think that you should be able to wait for it. Let there be a little bit of a challenge. Let somebody have to earn it. That's what makes it fun. That's what makes it inspiring, right? Don't you want like a little spark? Don't you want like a little challenge? If somebody gives it up to you that quickly, you just feel like, yeah, he gave it to me, I appreciate it, but there's really nothing much else after this. But if you work to get to that point, you feel like you accomplished something, right? I don't know. To me, I just feel like fast sex is bad sex. I think it should be a slow process. But some people may disagree with me on this video. They may say, well, that's not true, Mr. Rose. I hooked up with my girl. We had sex on the first date or first encounter, and we've been married for X amount of years. Okay, well, power to you. I'm not saying there's not couples that haven't hooked up from, first night sex. I'm not saying that, but I just think slow sex is good sex. This is my personal opinion. But that's just me. You may respectfully disagree. Let me go ahead and press play.
There you go.
From the beginning, if you're at dinner and you have no intentions of being with that guy, do not go home with them.
I got work in the morning. I gotta go home early.
You don't have to do that. Cuddling and the whole thing, that's not gonna work.
The point I'm trying to make, what you guys just don't understand, is a man's attention is not free, just like your sex isn't free. He is not entitled to spend another second with you if you don't want to fuck. And that's the problem that women have here. You went to the extent of calling me a misogynist for exerting a boundary, which the woman also exerted as well. It was in response to her asserting her right. I don't want to have sex. Cool. You no longer are going to get my attention. How is that misogynistic than me hating women? I think that's me being intelligent about my time.
I've repeated myself like 5 times, but I'll say it again.
The definition of misogyny: hate and or contempt for
First of
women.
all, I think you guys are not straight up misogynists, because that would be stupid to be a straight up blatant. I don't think you're blatant about it, but you have a lot of misogynistic tendencies, which I think that's the key to this podcast, that you guys are able to reframe these ideas into a way that's consumable for like modern men to be like, oh yeah, this is okay to listen to, which this is a whole other thing. But I was just saying that the manipulation part and like the entitlement that you felt in that video, just because a woman doesn't want to have sex with you, oh God, the audacity, you have to punish her. You have to play these manipulative games.
So why are you entitled to his time then?
I'm not entitled to anyone's time.
You're saying by me removing her from the place, then she's
no,
entitled to my time.
I did not say that. Are you listening to what I'm saying?
No, because you said it's misogynistic.
Playing those manipulative games. Like, why? the what you said in the video, that you feel entitled to having sex that you feel like there should be consequences to the fact that she doesn't want to have sex with you.
Yes, there are consequences.
What's wrong with that?
She no longer gets my attention. That's the consequence.
If I'm out with a girl, right, and obviously I know what I want, she knows what I want. Why even come to my room? Like, I'm just saying, look, if you're not into the guy, you're not into that, understand. It's your choice. You can walk away and say, you know what, this was fun. I gotta go home. It was nice meeting you.
Yeah.
It's done. Right there, it's done.
Mm-hmm.
But to go to this spot and then be like, all right, I don't know, da da da. What is that? Like, just don't show up.
Sometimes people don't like to give everything the first time they meet someone, because that can be a little overwhelming.
And that's fine.
So maybe they might want to sleep with you the few days later, maybe.
Here's a problem. We're
Couple
talking
weeks,
about what the woman
but-
wants. What about what the man wants? Why is it when a man exerts what he wants, it's misogynistic? That's the problem. It's not
I
misogynistic.
mean, like, you're both.
No.
You're both.
It's not
Other,
misogynistic.
right?
It's not misogynistic. It's realistic. For everything, for every action, there is a reaction. You just don't like the reaction because you no longer benefit from it. We tell men on this podcast, if women don't want to have sex with you, that's within their right. But it's also within your right to kick her the fuck out your house and get a girl that will. The problem is that when women no longer get what they want, right, the attention, resources, whatever, the guy is misogynistic. But if the guy continues to hang out with her and doesn't get what he wants, it's okay. It's okay for women to continue getting what they want. It's not okay for men to exert boundaries. And then you went as far as to say, I'm going to keep going on this. I'm not going to stop until we get to the bottom of this. What about what I'm saying is misogynistic, the hatred and contempt of women for exerting a boundary?
I already said that a lot of your videos have the misogynistic tendencies. You're not a blatant misogynist. And I already said that in the video, your mindset.
You can't like preface the word with blatant or whatever. Misogyny is misogyny. That is the definition.
Wait,
Hate or contempt for women. Where am I openly saying I hate women? I hate women, or I can have contempt for them, or whatever.
Well, there's different types of misogyny. There's definitely blatant misogynists, just like there's blatant racists, and racists that are not as blatant about their racism. They're not as open about it. There's the same thing with misogyny. And like I was saying, you're within your right. If you don't want to hang out with a girl, you can kick her out. Go ahead, do whatever you want. You're within your right. I'm not arguing with you about that.
So how is exerting a right that I have?
We have it right here.
misogynistic?
Definition of misogyny: hatred of, aversion to, or prejudice against women.
Yes.
So you're saying that that's who we are.
I said you have a lot of misogynistic tendencies underlying in your videos. Yes.
Prejudice.
And I feel like you guys are being very what's it called when you're trying to fight something very you're getting really offended that I'm saying this, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you guys.
No, but
we're
we're simply telling you, if you're gonna make a claim and call us misogynists,
Please tell us.
I have been. I've repeated myself like
you
5
have not.
times.
No, you haven't.
Like I said,
That's the reason why we're telling you to continue, is because that does not prove misogyny whatsoever. Exerting a boundary for undesirable behavior from women is not misogyny.
That's
Okay.
why I'm being.
But prejudice, you're like having prejudice towards a preference towards men over women in certain areas, or
I'm
like
gonna say you're gonna punish women for bad behavior. What sense does that make? We're gonna punish her for her bad behavior because she told you she don't want to fuck you, dude. Really?
different areas.
did you girls get what I was saying though? Did you understand what I was saying? I'm saying if you're within your right to kick a girl out, not want to be around her if she doesn't want to have sex with you. You're within your
That is
right.
not misogyny.
I'm saying that's not misogyny. I'm saying you're
So
within
what
your
is?
right to do
So
that.
what is misogyny then?
I was saying that the way in which you speak about women in that video, you're saying that, oh, because she doesn't want to have sex with me, there should be consequences, and you have
Yes.
to give women anxiety and make them feel bad about it. And
Yeah,
it's like,
but
why?
I said you simply call another woman.
Play manipulative games? Yeah,
You
you're
call
making a woman
another
feel
woman.
bad.
Hold on. You call another woman. Competition anxiety comes. The girl will be like, oh, who is this other girl he's calling? Whatever. I can't choose how she feels.
You know what you're doing. You're trying to play manipulative games.
No. I'm trying to get sex, and a byproduct of that is that she's getting anxiety.
You just gotta tell her straight up, hey, I'm gonna have some company later. Can you go?
Yeah.
But you don't gotta be like, so, hey, you want to come pull up
Ladies, hold on.
to my
And
crib?
This is
you
why
know?
men should never listen to women when it comes to dating, relationships, and advice, because
Yeah.
you guys don't understand what it takes to be attractive as a man to a woman. As a man to a woman, you know what you may like or whatever it is, but you don't know what makes you attractive as a man. And having boundaries and exerting those boundaries, regardless of how she feels, is what makes you attractive. Being indifferent to female emotion. So, again, it is not misogynistic to have boundaries and exert them.
That's not what I'm saying. You are free to have your boundaries. Free to have your boundaries.
So then where are we misogynistic? I'm gonna keep
I've
going.
said it
I'm gonna keep going.
So-
You can't make claims like that and not be able to
I
back it
think-
I've
up.
said it 5 times.
I think honestly that we should agree to disagree. In my opinion, I feel like based on what she's saying, I think that if you want to invite another girl over, you don't have to make it public. You don't have to tell her, hey, another
Did
girl
I not
is
say,
coming
hold
over.
on, in the video, did I not say go in another room and make a phone call?
Oh, okay. I didn't hear that part. I
See,
understood
selective
that you
hearing.
would have made the call in front of the girl.
Selective
Based on what
hearing.
I've heard.
I said you're gonna get up and go into another room and use the phone.
Okay. Okay,
That-
well,
that's
look,
different,
if you make the call in another room and you want to invite another girl and say, hey, look, listen, it's time to go, it's time to go.
Yeah, but
Why would that
Like
give
I
her
said,
social
but- but-
anxiety
but-
if
but-
she's
That doesn't
not
change
aware?
anything.
Exactly.
That
If
doesn't-
she's not aware, why
Because
would
it's
that
not
give
what
her
he was
anxiety?
saying. It's not with you
That
men.
doesn't
That's
make
why.
sense.
That's why it doesn't make sense. Because
ladies,
it's not with
hold on,
you
hold
men.
on. Ladies, anxiety and hatred are two different things. If you give a woman anxiety, that's not hatred.
But how
She
would
won't
she get-
have anxiety if she
she
doesn't
won't
know
have
that
anxiety
you're
if
calling
she doesn't
another
know
woman
yet.
in another
Yeah,
room.
I can want her to
Ladies,
know.
you wear makeup, you have different hair colors, you have, stuff like that. That's playing a game. You're manipulating men's emotions to get what you want, correct? If anything, you'll be here natural and, onto the podcast. But men have certain ways to get women, and that's what he's saying. He's like, listen, I don't hate her.
It's
but
okay for you to manipulate
Yo.
the way you look and to change it and distort it to get attraction from women and attention from men. But it's not okay for men to exert boundaries, and then that's considered manipulation.
Yo, this example, like when a girl says to you, "Hey, I'm coming over. We're not having sex, okay?" And you're like, "Yeah, cool. Let's just chill." But you really want to tell her, "Yeah, we're gonna fuck." But if you tell her that off rip, she's gonna be like, "Nah, I'm not coming." Nah.
Exactly.
She comes over. You guys chill. The vibe is there. Things happen. You can't say things like that straight up because you gotta understand, right? We understand how women work, so we're not gonna say things up front like that. You gotta do it a certain way. You gotta be smooth with it.
Women have an issue
Yeah,
with
it's
direct
not blatant
communication.
misogyny.
Yeah.
They have an issue with direct communication. So I mean, again, like I said, there nothing in that is misogynistic.
I think you guys are kind of missing what I'm saying still. But I'm just saying like in the
No, but you've been saying the same thing over, and it's not
Yeah,
misogyny. Is
I'm
what I'm
saying-
trying to say. You've repeated yourself multiple
Okay.
times, and I've told you what you have said is not misogyny.
you in the video you are speaking about women as if we're dogs that need to be submissive and be taught a lesson, and it's just like there. I don't know if you can see that there's so many like misogynistic like
I'm teaching men to be leaders, which is inherently attractive to women.
Yeah, but when you're all demanding and being physically demanding, and that doesn't come off as attractive, comes off as overbearing, demanding. Just saying.
sorry. Oh, okay.
I'm teaching men to be leaders, which is inherently attractive to women.
But earlier in the podcast you said that women can't be in leadership roles, that they can't
They
lead.
cannot, which is why I said I'm teaching men how to be in a leadership role to be attractive to women.
Okay, yeah. So I would argue that also that comment that you made that women cannot be leaders is pretty misogynistic as well.
Yeah, that
But,
is.
I mean, look, we all have
Okay,
different.
name one matriarchy that has stood at the test of time.
Just one. Just one. Please one. You got you.
Name a what?
A
One
matriarchy
matriarchy.
that has stood the test of time.
But what does that have to do with the relationship?
A female-led society.
Female. That's
That's not
society.
possible in this world.
No, I mean they're
And
just
you
they're
mentioned
having.
the patriarchy.
Because
So-
of patriarchy, it's not
What's the
possible.
definition?
No,
because
they're-
of the way it was created. But it could be but it won't.
Okay, hold on.
It won't,
Because
but it could
everything
be.
I say on this podcast is rooted in fact. I said women cannot lead and they're not capable of being leaders. You said that's misogynistic. I said, okay, that's misogynistic. Tell me one matriarchy that has stood the test of time.
I'm
a
not.
female-led society.
First of all, there haven't been a lot, but I'm also
been
not.
none.
I'm not a history major. I'm sorry that I don't have this written on the back of my
Okay, well,
hand.
here's the thing. If you're
but-
going to make claims like that.
No, but there's also a lot of women that tons of women representatives, senators, presidents, female presidents all around the world. Some of the most some of the most successful countries in combating COVID were women leaders. So
It's true. Europe.
Yeah.
That's again, like I said, women aren't built to be leaders. Name one matriarchy that has existed at the beginning of time. There is none.
Okay, but she just answered your question. She just said that there are countries that have women leading. And he says, well, name one that's lasted from the beginning of the time. Nah. Empires fall all the time, even the ones that men rule. Rome fell. Other countries have fallen. Iraq and Iran are
led by men, and other groups of men take them over. Not every country stood the test of time from a male-led society. Other males are conquered by other males. It happens all the time.
You just want to disregard what I said?
No, are we in a matriarchy?
I just said
Women built the world that you live in.
No, men did.
Clear examples of
Men built the world that you live in that allowed women to even be able to rise up to leadership positions
Yeah, I do agree with that.
within the world that men built.
yes, I'm aware of that. Women have played a great role in society as well, but I just gave you examples
This is,
of.
hold on. This is not to say men are better than women.
I just gave you examples of women-led countries in Europe that have been doing great during the pandemic, led by women, and like
Which
you just want to
countries?
skim
Which-
over that.
Which countries?
Look it up, Google it.
Switzerland.
How are you going to make a claim and not be able to back it up?
I don't remember the country in my head right now. I'm sorry, I don't have it written on the back of my hand,
So you
like I
say-
said. But
Yo, this is
South
comedy right
America
here.
has had female presidents.
I forgot-
Europe, parts of Europe.
yeah, if you just do a quick Google search,
Yeah,
I'm sure you can
it's
find
quite-
it.
and not that much, but it's like quite a few, like a handful.
Yeah, I'm saying.
No,
those are
Rick, I'm
just
losing
different
brain
examples
cells
of
trying to
women
watch this
leadership
video,
roles that are
bro,
doing
but I'm
great
just doing
jobs.
it because you told me to.
I said that. Why would I remember this woman's first and last
Well,
name?
you're saying it.
You can
I
Google
feel like
it.
it's
If you're
two
gonna make a claim,
idiots
guys,
going
you gotta
back
be
and
able to
forth.
substantiate it. You can't just make like random claims. No, there is a matriarchy that's existed. There is none. Oh no, there's been plenty of female leaders. And here's the other thing too. Yeah, we have women leaders
Your
in
viewers
the
are saying
world that men have created. This isn't, ladies. You guys are thinking like I'm saying men are better than women. I'm not saying that. I'm saying men are better at certain things than women, and leadership just happens to be one of them. And as a matter of fact, and especially we say within the confinements of a relationship, men have to lead, not women. What is wrong?
Yeah, but just because men lead don't mean they're entitled to sex with every woman they encounter. Big difference. It's like saying, "Oh, well, I'm in, a leadership position as a man, so therefore every date I go on, all you women be ready for my dick." It's like it's not how it works. We live in a times where now women have options and they have equality with us, and they can vote, drive, stuff like that. And like to me, it just sounds like these guys they want to have sex with a woman they can't have. That's really like what it comes down to.
Wrong with that? I'm teaching guys how to be leaders with women in an attractive state.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, and a part of being a leader is reinforcing boundaries and punishing bad behavior from your girlfriend that's undesirable.
I mean, we love
I know you don't like the way I say it, but it's the truth. If I have a boundary and a girl doesn't stick to it, all right, well, you know what? I'm not fucking with you no more. Break up with her, whatever, and then she's gonna come back correct.
Like, for example, your friend's flight tonight. Did we, hate them? No. I mean, you gotta punish their behavior because what happens? We have a podcast to do, and it has to be done.
There's punishment. Here's the thing: when I say within the relationship with a man and a woman, it's met with contempt. But everyone exerts boundaries. If a man doesn't pay for a first date, you punish that bad behavior and you don't hang out with him again. Correct? Or maybe he wasn't funny or cool. You punish that bad behavior. There's consequences. You don't hang out with him again. Correct? Why is it a problem when a man has a consequence for a woman, but it's not okay when a woman has a consequence for a man?
Silence.
I've just repeated myself so many times. I don't want to repeat
Yeah,
myself
the same
again.
thing over again. It's not.
But what
nothing
you're
new.
saying is incorrect, is what I'm trying to say. You keep saying having boundaries with women is misogynistic, and I'm saying
That's all I said. How many times? I'm sorry.
How many times you gotta
have I
bring up
said that A man
misogynistic?
can have his own boundaries, right? There's nothing wrong with that.
But then you're saying that what we see in videos is misogynistic.
Does anyone want to reword what I said? Because I just feel tired repeating myself at this point.
no, it's not that you're tired. You've been repeating yourself. It's that you have not been able to substantiate your accusation that we're misogynistic,
I said you have some misogynistic tendencies in your content. Yeah, you
and
do.
you have not been able to substantiate it.
I
one
just
bit.
said you want me to repeat myself again?
You have not been able to substantiate it because we gave you
I'm
the
trying,
textbook
Rick.
definition of misogyny, and nothing
Yeah.
that we've shown, which is what you claimed was a misogynistic, showed misogyny.
Basically,
I said multiple times women can't be in leadership roles. That's a lie. Big
It's
fat
not,
lie.
but it's not a hatred of women, though. They can't. It's
That's rooted in biological
What do you-
fact.
what-
It's not hatred, but it's a biological fact. But women are in leadership positions. So a woman is a manager. You're saying she can't have a leadership, like ever? Okay.
What do you think that?
because we're telling they can't do something doesn't mean we hate women.
Women are incapable of being in leadership roles. Well, they are today in today's society. I'm so sorry to tell you, and they're doing great jobs at it.
Women can't be in a leadership role within the confinements of a relationship with a man. Remember, we're talking about you have a girl over at your place. Women cannot lead men in a relationship.
Okay, well then why did you just ask me about successful women leadership roles in the world if we're not talking about
Facts.
I'm saying that the world
Facts.
was built by men and no matriarchy has ever survived. Therefore, men are born leaders.
Okay, so then why are you asking me about world examples if we're talking about romance? I don't understand.
Yeah,
Because
I agree.
it also applies.
Okay, exactly. So
applies,
women are capable of
But
leadership
for this
roles.
specific conversation, we're talking about men have to lead within a relationship, and you lead by exerting boundaries.
I think it's healthy for everyone to exert boundaries. Yeah,
But men especially have to do it.
So
women and men have to exert boundaries. I was saying the way you were referring to women, that women are these, these people that have to be submissed and
Women have
put
to be submissive
consequences
for a
with.
relationship to work.
Okay.
I mean, listen,
Did you or did you not say earlier? I said who leads in a relationship? You said men, correct?
A lot of times men do. Yeah.
Okay. So for a leader to exist, someone must submit to their leadership, correct?
Okay. Yes. What about
You're
that?
using submission as if it's a bad word. Submission is not a bad word. Following a man's lead is not bad.
I think anyone who watches that video can see the undertone of the video and say, yeah, there's a misogynistic undertone to that video, because you're talking about women as if they're these people, these things, these beings that because they don't want to have sex with you, there's consequences to not wanting to have
Okay.
sex, and that
Yeah,
they
that's
have
true.
to be submissed and like put into
Submissive.
control because they don't want to have sex with you. And yeah, there's a misogynistic tone to that, and it's a very honestly pretty rapey misogynistic tone to that
Mhm.
that contributes to like a lot of sexual violence against women all over the world.
at what point did he say to put a hand on a woman? At what point?
How's that?
Did I say that? It didn't come out of my mouth.
You said
You
rapey.
just said rapey.
Some people might interpret it.
Some people
different
interpret it
ways.
as that.
You might
Yeah.
think of it like in an innocent way, but
How
somebody
is telling
else
a
is
woman to
gonna.
leave after she doesn't want to have sex rapey?
No, it's the
yeah.
consequence.
No.
No,
Say this now. Hell
no.
We going all. We
He
going all
said
the way.
to leave.
Yeah.
No, that's
How is
it
that?
would be the opposite. But I'm saying she's referring to the part where he says there are consequences. Some guys might see, consequences. I gotta take.
I'm not saying you see it as that. I'm not saying you do
Could
at
be,
all.
whatever.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that a lot of men take that type of mentality and they take it like to a different extent, and they, there's.
We don't
Yeah.
operate on what ifs, could haves, and
So-
whatever.
Well,
I
that's the
simply am
reality.
saying no. It's not the reality because I'm simply saying woman doesn't want to have sex. Cool, you must leave. Period. There's nothing rapey about that. If anything, in the video I said I respect your boundaries, but you have to leave.
There you go.
And then you said this podcast, so you're addressing us in this studio. You know what I'm saying?
The
so
content.
As misogynist.
So and it comes off as rapey. Under where did we say there? Do anything that is rapey.
Every girl I deal with never ever said that to me. Any girl on the show that's been on the show never said that either. So you're saying that right now. I want you to tell us
And she said she
exactly
didn't like
why.
the tone as well. She didn't like the
why
tone.
you're saying that. If you tell us why you're saying that and there's facts behind it, I'll believe you.
Like I said, I'm not saying you guys are rapey at all. I'm not saying that. I'm sure you guys are not. I'm sure you guys would never do something like that. That's not what I'm saying.
You said it comes off as rapey.
I'm saying that contributes to that type of mentality that men have, that they feel so entitled to a woman that, yeah, a lot of times they commit acts of sexual violence against women. And it's unfortunate and it's true.
On the contrary, we're telling them to not do that and to find another girl.
He just told him to leave.
What?
Like okay,
Yes,
I can understand if you said to hold her down, hold her by the neck, lock
Yeah.
the door, make her
Call the
submit.
girl.
He
No,
said to leave.
I'm
call
not saying,
another girl.
I'm not saying about the fact that he told her to leave. I'm saying about the fact that you guys in that video were saying that women are these beings that need to be
Not beings.
submissive, that need to be taught to like be put into their place if they don't want to have sex with you.
Pause.
Like,
Play the video one more time, Chris. Because I didn't hear it.
Where did I
any
say?
of that.
Where did I say? Put her
Hold on,
in
play
a
the
place. She has
video.
to have sex with you.
Chris, play the video one more time, please.
Yeah, like
'Cause
nah.
I did not
you're
hear
gonna go all the way with this.
none of that.
If you're
Like,
gonna make
what the
claims like
fuck?
this, you gotta back it up all the way, man. We
Oh.
got 100,670
Guys,
people
like the
watching
video,
right now.
come to the channel. This is crazy right now. I can't believe this.
Yeah, see, she got you because of her flexible definition of misogyny. Nailed down the definition and you stop her. Exactly, which is what we're saying. If you're gonna make a claim, ladies, you got to be able to stand on it.
'Cause look,
with 2 feet,
We love women
all the way. Yeah,
all day, every day. But
we're gonna play
to
the
say
game.
that,
What
man.
do I say? I understand you don't want to have any bedroom fun, but I got my knee.
Someone else, if they're down, cool.
Yeah.
If not, it's cool.
Yeah, the actions in that video are not wrong. I'm saying you're entitled to leave. You're entitled to tell her to leave. I'm just saying that.
But you point out that video many times. That video is.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. The mentality of that video, like.
All right, I'm done with the video. 40 minutes in out of an hour and 18 minutes. I think I've seen enough. They're going back and forth about. She thinks it's rude for him to basically kick a woman out because she refused to have sex. That you need to call another woman in front of her and all these manipulative, childish stuff he's doing to try to make her feel bad about it. Well, I understand her point. And then Fit says, well, what makes you think you're entitled to a man's time, money, and resources? I agree with that part. I will say I agree with him. He's not entirely wrong. He just comes, it's the way he comes off. He comes off very bitter. If he was to say something like, well, ladies, you have to understand from our point of view, you guys can go out with whoever you want and you don't even have to promise them a romantic encounter or anything, but yet you expect men to come out of the pocket for you all the time. I could understand if he was to say, just look at it from our point of view. And you'd be like, all right, cool. I get it. I get what you're saying. But at the end of the day, it's human mentality to be greedy and self-centered. Rather it's the man that's that's entitled to sex, or the woman that's entitled to free dates. And it goes both ways. Mr. Rose, stop picking at your teeth. I know I do that a lot. Who's more for everybody? Both. I think it's both. So who's all on here, man? We got 5 chatters in the room. I think at the end of the day, we as humans have to understand that we're not always going to get our way. And that's why it's important to have open, honest communication with one another. To not just be saying stuff, but to be listening. Whether it's politics, working environment, dating life, whatever. And that's my whole belief on it. At the end of the day, we all should have a compromise. Let's see if we could agree to disagree, or agree on some things, disagree on others, Because then there's going to be a lot of yelling, a lot of screaming, and then nothing gets done. Yeah, Crispy goes on for a lot longer than that. It's an hour and 18-minute video. I just played 40 minutes of it. I just didn't want to go through anymore because it's basically saying the same thing. That's why we have this gender war. You just got two sides fighting over wanting more piece of the pie and not wanting to come together on a deal. That's why people don't want to get married anymore. That's why people are, saying fuck relationships, fuck dating, this and that, because let's be honest, they don't want to make a deal.
Now, not everyone's always going to agree with you. You're not always going to get your way. I think people need to understand that and stop having this self-entitled, narcissistic attitude from not just the women, but the men as well. That's just my opinion. So we got 6 people watching. Who's all watching? Crispy Cruiser is 1. Alex is probably 2. Who are the other 4? Mike, you still in here? I don't know. We'll see. We will see. I haven't done a live stream like this in a minute. I said, fuck it. Kim's prediction coming in the next 10 years. Oh, yeah. Yep, that's what I'm afraid of. You're right. Damn, I can't believe it's. Rachel says you're up at 2:36 in the morning, Steve. It's been a long time. Yes, ma'am. It has been a doozy. But I said, fuck it. I don't care. I forgot what time I go in tomorrow. I know it's late, though, so I ain't worried about it. We all need a vacation, man. I'll tell you that. We all do. I want a cold glass of iced lemonade with the damn straw on it. All right, guys. It's 2:38 a.m. I'm getting tired. Don't want to keep you waiting. Don't want to keep you bored. But I'm going to bed. Peace out, sayonara. See you tomorrow. Good night. Peace.